Hello again, everybody. Adam is going to release an update to the demo today and wants to get any random tasks done for it so that the release can be as good as possible. Hey, Aaron Murray, how you doing? Good to see you. What makes you decide between Twitch and YouTube out of curiosity? And hey, Blob. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better after tackling all those issues that we tackled. All right, let's go take a look into some of this stuff. I want to get some work done today. So where do we initialize Steam here? Yeah, so if we're on a Steam build, we initialize Steam. If we're not, we don't. If we don't initialize Steam, it shouldn't use Steam Cloud. Yeah, so if we don't initialize Steam, well, I guess to say at least at the time of writing, if we all platforms, itch and Steam, save to the same local location. I want to emphasize this. But yeah, if Steam is running, if Steam is initialized, wait a second, does that make sense? Wait. There's a scenario I don't think I understand. You have Steam running. You launch the game as a standalone thing. My code will init Steam. And then Steam will sync from the cloud? The game is already loaded. So won't we have a problem? Uh-oh. Stop using YouTube? I waste too much time there? You mean since yesterday? Because weren't you just messaging me yesterday on YouTube? Either way, I think it's good. I'm just curious about the timeline. Hey, Athletics. Yeah, so I think in this case, it's going to try overwriting your save file and then it won't actually do anything. I kind of want to try this. I have Steam open. So if I just run the game right now, it should sync to whatever I have on Steam, I think. Let's make sure of that first. So if I hit continue over here, let's just look at how much money we have. Actually, wait, that's not going to tell us what I want to know. Oh, wow. We just got a bunch of achievements. This might tell us what I want to know. Let me think about this. How do we... Yeah, so I should put a point into battle ready. Okay, so that's it. We have 1 point in battle ready. And now we're going to go save. So now if I quit and reload, we should have... It says cloud conflict. Okay, first let's fix that. Hey, Jesta. Yeah, I think that's what's happening because I'm launching this outside of here. But yeah, I'm not positive about that. Why is this not working? Huh, that's strange. Retry sync doesn't actually seem to fix this. Hey, Cardlefish. I haven't seen your message yet in coding. I just didn't really look at Discord this morning too much. All right, I'm not sure what's causing this to happen. Can I fix these other ones by clicking this? Here it's giving me a cloud conflict thing I can click. Here it isn't. But it doesn't say there's a conflict, does it? Some files conflict, and this one says there was an error synchronizing. Oh, what? Yeah, what? Oh, whoops. That's not where I was supposed to go. I need to find the... There it is. Remote storage. Skeleseller playtest. Here it is. These are from the 18th and the 19th. Yeah, I don't know what's going wrong right now. Maybe it says in the console? No. Develop PTSD? I sure hope not. Hey, Masters. Yeah, here he is again. Yeah, I want to put in some more hours and just make sure I'm getting things done. Hey, Phil M. And I don't know what to do about this. Maybe what we could do is the set spew level stuff. Test app clubhouse. I don't want that. I just want this thing, I think. So now I'm going to try clicking this and maybe it'll show something in the console. It didn't. Am I on the wrong branch or something? Hang on a second. Let me take a look. Default public version. I don't know what's going on right now. All right, I'm going to switch versions to the alpha test one. It says update queued. Let's just click it. Okay, now I can pick. I don't really care what we pick here. Let's just, sure, that. It doesn't matter. I'm going to switch back to the public version. So Steam Cloud got fixed. And now I don't even know what this is. Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. It doesn't matter. Hey, Hef. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think this should be too hard to figure out, though. So let's just quit out of this. This didn't matter. I want to run from VS Code. I don't think this scenario really exists, but I still want to see what happens, maybe just for the sake of my notes. So I click this. I click new game. Yeah, we have 1 point in this. Great. So I'm going to quit. And this should be up to date, hopefully. Good. And that means that over here, we should see a file from right now, 837. I mean, it's 834. That's, oh, because I didn't update it this time. All right, so if I download this, this is all going correctly now, but I still haven't answered my question. So if I check for which meta perks we've unlocked, we have this one maybe? Ability ID 179. Yes. So this is the important part here. Now here's what I want to do. I want to try this scenario. So you have Steam running. You launch the game as a standalone thing. So I need to delete this file. So I could just do move cmruns.json to temp. No, cm saves.json. Yes. Okay, so now the file doesn't exist. So when I launch the game, if I were to launch through Steam right now, it would show me my save data, but I think it's not going to have it now. Yeah, it doesn't. Because of how we initialize Steam Cloud. Okay, this is not exactly what I expected. So if I put that back where it was, oops. And then I quit the game, it's going to sync nothing because it won't have a change. So this should still say 8:34 a.m. Good. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to launch through Steam. And it will have my save data because it's going to pull the data first. Yes. Okay, I'm glad I clarified that. Hey, Puelo. Hey, Keds. I'll watch someone else get things done. Well, hopefully there's a lot of stuff getting done at least. Hey, Kevin. All right, so we could fix this if we wanted to. I don't think I care, though, because I don't know how many people are going to launch this standalone. But yeah, this works how I think it does. So conclusions. The game will sync after I've tried loading the file. Or like Steam will sync after I try loading the file. So it'll look like you have no data. Been optimizing a tree data structure. I've got a 200% speed up. I'm putting 100K items. Nice, nice, nice. And you were already happy with the performance when you first did it, right? I know you said you, yeah, that it kind of just worked. What was that April Fool's video that I had? Cloning myself. This one. This is what this reminds me of. Find areas to improve. Yeah, sounds cool. Sounds like fun. You should do it on stream in front of a bunch of people, and then they get frustrated. People love it when that happens. All right, so did I ever mention this? Yeah, you just need Steam to be running, and the Steam API needs to be initialized. Everything should work fine. So this is not really true. The everything should work fine. So how about we make a note, launching from outside of Steam. So Steam Cloud works even if you launch your game through, say, VS Code or Godot. You just need Steam to be running, and the Steam API needs to be initialized with the correct app ID. So, however, here's what that flow looks like. Oh, this might have worked before when we initialized Steam regardless. Oh, no. Okay. So we could work around this if we wanted to. It's not probably worth it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I don't know how many people are going to launch from outside of Steam for this sort of thing. But the way we need to do it is we would need to have the Steam version initialize itself before my code even starts running, which I think is doable, but I'm not actually even positive. Hey, DJ. Hey, Sunset. What's the goal today? Good. The goal today is to hopefully do another release. So we're just going to get as many tasks done as we can. Okay, so you launch the game from outside of Steam. Something inside your game will initialize Steam with the app ID. Steam will then sync your file from the cloud. Wait. Is that part even true? That part should be true. I can validate that. Do we have the game running right now? We do. It doesn't really matter if we do or not. And now I've changed this. Now we're going to go into this, and this should still say 8:34 a.m. It does. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to move this back to temp and then launch the game. And what's going to happen is going to create my old save file here. But I've already loaded the new one, so it's going to seem like a problem. As long as I understand this, I think this is fine because like I said, I'm going to intentionally not do anything about this. No, that does not seem like the case. We have null data here. Shouldn't it have, maybe it sees that the file exists and it doesn't do anything? Or maybe we saved over. I mean, we might have saved, but why would we save? cmsave.json. Here we go. Do we ever call save here? Load. Save right there. Save challenge mode data. Okay. Does this ever get called at the beginning? Hey, Resco. How you doing? Isn't launching a game from outside of Steam pretty normal with like desktop shortcuts? I'm not sure actually. I don't know how it works. If you make a desktop shortcut, is it a shortcut to the Steam game or is it a shortcut to the underlying executable? Like, it's possible that the shortcut is something like Steam -- game equals Skeleseller or something like that. As opposed to just the shortcut being straight to Skeleseller.exe. Hey, Christmas. Exhausted with life, happily excited for some chill listening along to you while doing other tasks myself. Nice. Yeah, if it launches with the app ID, then I think it's fine. So that's why I say I don't think this scenario really matters. But I'm still trying to understand everything, and I think we might call this function here. But I need to validate that. And if that's the case, then yeah, hopefully we're fine. So this is create empty. Oh, I see. Okay, so I think we are overwriting this. So if I just didn't, okay, let's just delete this. Let's delete write all text and let's delete save the challenge mode data. So delete this. Now I want to start up. Oh man, this is very tedious to test out, but I think I'm doing this correctly. Okay, so this is the same thing we have there. Now we quit this. This still should not have an updated date. Good. I'm gonna refresh one more time. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna move it back to the temp folder. And now we have no cmsave.json. I'm gonna run the game, and I think it should create it. But the game isn't creating it. It's Steam that's creating it. And then if that's what happens, yep, we're totally great here. This is totally fine. You know what? I probably shouldn't even have this on my taskbar here. Remove from dock. I have a keyboard shortcut to get to it anyway. Should I remove anything else for that same reason? No, that's the only thing I just don't have open a lot. Maybe I could remove FL Studio at this point. Yeah. Okay. So let's try one more time. Whoops, that's not what I meant to press. It's saying could not find file CM save. That's expected, but shouldn't Steam have synchronized it? Okay, maybe I don't understand what's going on then. I thought it would have downloaded this file when we ran. Maybe it doesn't download those files at all. In fact, yeah, I wonder if we just turned off saving entirely. Okay, or maybe it's just not part of Steam initialization. All we're doing is calling Steam init. Godot Steam init. Hey, Axel. Yeah, just has Steam run game. Sounds good. And hey, Oakley isn't defined. You have a CS background? How much math is involved in your coding these days or when you worked at Google? So when people ask this question, I assume they mean like, how much are you doing things like this kind of math, 5 times 4 or I don't know, trigonometry or something like that. And I would say not very much directly, but math encompasses things like logic and pretty much everything that you're doing when you're coding. It's just not the kind of math people tend to ask about. So yeah, not a ton. And even with game development, it's like, yeah, sure, you should understand angles and vectors and I don't know, probably some other things too. Maybe quaternions, depending on what you're doing. But you're probably just using a game engine that makes it very simple. And you're going to end up calling a function like look at. And that's going to, given a vector, but like 2 points, I want this entity to look at this one. It's going to figure out what it needs to do. And then, change a camera so that there's some transformation matrix underneath and you don't have to fill in any of those numbers yourself. If you make your own game engine, you need to know all that stuff. Planning on making a video about note taking. Is there a release date? I'm hoping you make a VOD on this. I personally really like your style. There's no release date. I'll write this down as this is something people really want to see. But yeah, I don't know when this would happen. Yeah, if you're worried that like, oh, hey, I didn't do very well in calculus class, am I going to have a problem coding? No, you're not going to. Unless you're making, the next like TI calculator or something. Because the way I always kind of look at it is there are domains that will always require certain knowledge. Like you could ask the same question about medicine. Do I need to know medicine to code? And it's like, no. But then if you're making an app for a doctor or for researchers or something, you might. But then you probably just wouldn't go into that field if you didn't want to do that. I'm not saying the question's ridiculous, by the way. I think it's a valid question. I think it all depends on what you're going to end up doing. Okay, so what does initialization do here? Steam init. Yeah, the problem is I don't know what initializing Steam... Oh, here we go. Read official documentation. Yeah, this is what I want. See initialization and shutdown for more information. Yep. After you have Steamworks API set up, you can start it using it with this. So set up the global state, populate interface pointers, must be called and returned successfully prior to accessing any interfaces. Will not initialize if it does not know the app ID. When you launch your app from Steam itself, it'll automatically have it available. While developing, you have to hint this with a text file. They don't say whether Steam Cloud is part of this. That's the thing I want to find out. Is calling this API enough for Steam to be like, oh, I'll go download your files? Because I'm not doing anything else, but I don't know if they're doing something else here. I guess we could look through their code and figure out what they're calling. All right, this is taking longer than I thought. I keep saying that every single day, though. So I guess that's just my life at this point. Where's their GitHub? All right, it's Codeberg. All right, so we want to find this and then go find their initialization code. Isn't there no search on here? Did I download this before? Godot Steam. Yeah, I did. I was gonna say, this seems familiar. Okay, so we search for Steam init. There it is. And what failed over here? Just I didn't have a file, yeah. Yeah, that's it. It just calls init. But this doesn't mention Steam Cloud. Maybe it doesn't initialize Steam Cloud. Maybe that's what I'm realizing here. Does Steam init sync from the cloud? I'm not going to figure this out, am I? When does this run? They don't mention this here. Okay, yeah, I can't figure out this particular part. I'll just write my notes anyway. Oh yeah, I definitely agree with this. And not even in the direct way of like, I learned A and then needed to use A, whatever this is. It's more like, I learned A, so I learned how to learn, and I have a skill that indirectly correlates to something else in ways I don't realize. Like, I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and then I ended up doing whatever. I don't know. I was like constructing a building, and somehow the Rubik's Cube helped you with that. Like, that's kind of how I think a lot of this works. Because that's what intelligence is connecting knowledge. And the more knowledge you have, the more things you've learned, I think the more you can make those connections. I don't ever think it's a waste unless you have some other cost associated with it. Like it cost you money to do, or you could only spend your time learning one thing and you had to pick which thing to learn. Then yes, maybe you could have learned a better thing or something like that, but otherwise it shouldn't matter too much. Steam is launched, Steam launches, notices the cloud has changes, downloads the files. What might be worth doing if a problem is wait for Steam process to launch. It's only the Steam client that does the cloud transfers. I'm not certain this does save from or sync from the cloud when you start up. Because if it did, I would have a file here. Where'd that go? Here. Yeah, I would have my cmsave.json because it's on the cloud. Right there. But it is not in this folder now. But if I launch through Steam, it would be here. But it seems to sync at the end. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because they have a Steam Cloud API. I should just go look at that. Where is that? I forgot what they even called it. They call it storage or something. Yeah, remote storage. Do they have like a Steam Cloud for more information? No, this is the official thing. Yeah, so it's just these functions that I see here. File delete, file share. Oh, this is AutoCloud that does this. That's why. That's the thing I want to find out. Does Steam init sync AutoCloud? When the application launches, I want to find out more information about what it means to launch it. Because Steam doesn't know that you launched it. It seems like the answer is no. Yeah, it seems like it's no. It just knows when it exits. Okay, yeah, I'm going to write that down. All right, so something inside your game will initialize it. So at this point, if you're using AutoCloud, I don't believe Steam will try syncing, will try downloading files from the cloud. In other words, if you care, if you want to support people being able to launch from outside of Steam, then I don't think you would use AutoCloud so that you can manually pull files from the cloud yourself. However, when closing the game, it will indeed sync any changes that occurred back to the cloud with AutoCloud enabled. Yeah, okay. So here's what I think. I think that, and I should write one more thing to do. right about if you don't have the local folder reflecting the cloud folder. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back to where it was. I don't have the game running, do I? I do have the game running. Yeah. So I want to move this back from temp over to here, and then I'm going to close the game. And yep, this still didn't get updated. But check this out. Now we're just going to remove this file completely. And when I launch through Steam, it's going to recreate it. And yep, there it is. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. And if not, I wrote I believe or I don't believe. So that's probably close enough. So at this point, if you're using Auto Cloud, I don't believe Steam will try downloading the files from the cloud, since I think Steam has to handle that itself at launch. And by the time you even can initialize Steam, the game must have already been launched. In other words, if you want to support people being able to launch from outside of Steam, then I don't think you would use AutoCloud. I don't think you can use AutoCloud. And instead have to manually pull files from the cloud yourself. Okay. So the only scenario this really affects, I'll write this here. Yeah, thanks for the sub. Excuse me, got ahead of myself with words there. Only scenario this really affects is when you launch from outside of Steam and your local save folder doesn't match the so your local save folder doesn't match the remote save folder. Since AutoCloud won't download the files, this means that it'll just use whatever was in the directory to begin with. And the other scenario is your remote save, well, no. Your local save folder contains some Steam user specific data, like their ID. This wouldn't matter, right? This wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be able to use this. And I might have written this down already in AutoCloud. If you're setting this up for the first time, this is kind of a gotcha. The reason is that AutoCloud under normal working circumstances automatically save or load per user. But also, it means that you need to launch from Steam, or else you can't get the ID ahead of time to be able to do this. It also means that you can't launch your game from outside of Steam, since AutoCloud I'll just say C Steam Cloud launching from outside of Steam. Yeah. Even the Steam shortcuts will launch Steam. Yes, exactly. When you launch sorry, I should be very clear here. When you launch from the executable directly. Or even if you launch your .exe directly. I shouldn't say Steam Cloud works. I should say saving to Steam Cloud works. However, loading doesn't seem to work. Yeah. Here's what that flow looks like. You launch your game from outside of Steam. Something inside your game will initialize Steam with the app ID. At this point, if you're using AutoCloud, I don't believe it'll try downloading files, since Steam has to handle that itself at launch. before your game has started, but you started it yourself. In other words, if you want to support people being able to launch from outside of Steam. Okay, so this bit about AutoCloud I think is pretty important. When closing the game, it will indeed sync any changes that occurred back to the cloud. The only scenarios this really affects there's one other thing. Oh yeah, that's right. Local save folder contains some Steam user specific data like their ID. In this case, no, in this case, this would probably just work. Why did I say this then? No, I should delete this. And just set this back to what it was. Okay. So this doesn't actually matter. It's just if your local doesn't match the remote. AutoCloud won't download the files. This means it'll just use whatever's in the directory to begin with. This isn't even correct either. Saving works as long as you, yeah. Steam Cloud works even if you launch your game through this. Just needs Steam to be running. AutoCloud specifically will only save correctly in this scenario, not load. Yeah. You launch a game from outside of Steam. Something inside your game will initialize it. At this point, if you're using AutoCloud, I don't believe Steam will try downloading files from the cloud, since I think Steam has to handle that before your game is started. When closing the game, it will indeed sync any changes that occurred. The only scenario this really affects is when you launch from outside of Steam and you're like with AutoCloud enabled and your local save folder doesn't match a remote save folder. Since it won't download the files, this means it'll just use whatever's in your directory to begin with, which could be another player's save data if you have multiple users on the same machine and no. Oh, I shouldn't even say that. Which could be absent, out of date. Yeah. Well, how about out of date or absent? Ooh, okay. Wow, that was quite the note. Hey, Dad, hey, Goose, hey, Bristle. You think about Point Shop? Yeah, I've thought about it. I don't know what we're going to do about it yet. I think we'll base it on the popularity of the game. The achievements will work if you launch from outside of Steam, as long as Steam gets initialized. But I don't think that's really a scenario that anyone's going to care about. And either way, we're going to break things with AutoCloud if you do that. So yeah, basically, like if I run from VS Code, I will still get achievements in the Steam version. So if you ran skeleseller.exe and Steam was running, then you would get achievements, but you won't sync from the cloud at the beginning of the game. So this is the good thing. This is potentially a bad thing. It might not matter depending on what your save data contained. If it was already what the cloud had, everything is going to be totally fine. If it wasn't what the cloud had, you are going to be in a world of pain. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, good morning, Goose. Okay, so I think we've written notes about all this stuff. I don't think we have anything to worry about then, because if you're on the itch version, we don't initialize Steam. And I don't think I changed anything except for commenting out some save things, which we can just delete now. Yeah. Why is there a thing in here? At least at the time of writing, all platforms save to the same local location. If Steam is initialized, so auto cloud will only work if Steam launches the game and performs this initialization. Actually, the initialization doesn't matter because Steam knows the app ID. That's the reason. Yeah, so if you... All right, I'm not going to keep going into this. It doesn't matter. Let's just say add clarifying comment here. Ooh, the important part, here's what does matter to me, is that if you downloaded this from itch, that it doesn't try using Steam. Yeah. I don't know what scenario would cause that to happen, because you'd have to buy it from itch and then buy it from Steam, which I don't think anyone's going to do. But maybe you got the demo from itch. Yeah, maybe that could matter. And then you bought it on Steam. Yeah, that could potentially be reasonable. All right, well, whatever. Okay, so lower town hall tip to like 50 seconds. Yeah, I just saw there was a new video on YouTube. And actually, this was a little bit concerning. So I started watching this person's video. This is a French player. They found the game and I watched, about 20 minutes so far. They never once picked up an item. And they read the Garbage Slimes dialogue twice. So what does it say in French that made them not want to pick up an item? Because in English, it says drag items to me and I'll eat them. So yeah, what does it say in French? Drag objects onto me and I'll eat them. Huh. That's strange. Wow, weird. Yeah, I don't know why this person never tried that. I wonder if they try it later. They never moved a single item at all. And even when they got the extractor, they didn't do that. And I thought, oh man, this might be a French translation problem, because I don't think I've ever seen a player play like that. And this person does seem to be a gamer. And I found it surprising they didn't even try clicking an item. So I gotta figure that out. Idle nature of it. Some players just won't interact. It's possible, but like he looked like he wanted the game to go a little bit faster. I mean, it might be a PevCac situation. I just wanted to see, is there some other thing I can understand? Because even on the Steam page, like, do we ever... I guess screenshots wouldn't ever show this. But in the video, do we show it? No, yeah, we do. We have a thing at the... We specifically call this out. Right here. Feed this guy. And then it shows the cursor dragging some items onto him. So, yeah, I'm guessing... they might not have watched the trailer, but still, like, then there's the text in the game. And then there are a lot of things where it's like, huh, should the game be going this slowly? Like, maybe I can do something. Hey, player. Then read the message that answers a question and I register. Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, too, and this is something I noticed with demos, at least. This is a theory. I guess I can't say I've concluded this for sure. But if people don't know the quality of the game, then they'll assume it's bad, I think. And then they'll have less patience and they'll probably like read less, or just assume that, oh, my problem must be a problem for everybody. It's not just a problem for me. And I think that could get solved. Like if you go to Stardew Valley and you're looking at this page, even if you don't watch the trailer, you don't look at any of the screenshots, you see overwhelmingly positive across 377,000 reviews and you're like, okay, there's probably not like super rough edges around this game, or this might have just been positive, right? Or very positive or something. But it wouldn't be overwhelmingly positive unless it did a pretty good job. So when you see this, you'd be primed to think, oh, if there's an issue or that's the sound level's too loud, like I'll go into the settings or I'll find a fix for this or something, or I'll figure it out in the game itself. When you don't have those context clues, you might be like, well, the game just sucks. Deploy the finger arrows to slide the item to the slide. You could do an outline on the display stands, extractor, and slime to show what it can interact with. So we do that once you pick up an item. We just don't do that ahead of time because we literally tell you, like the garbage slime is your tutorial for telling you can move items. It says, I'll pay you for tasty items, drag items to me, and I'll eat them. And this person did read this dialogue twice. And then, yeah, what you do, we don't have a grant items thing. I'm in the playtest version, I guess. All right, let me launch from here. Yeah. So let's hit continue. So yeah, if there are just items on the ground, then it doesn't, there's no indication you can click them, I guess. But once you do click one, now it outlines the garbage slime. It outlines all of these. And it outlines, well, I don't have any warehouse things, but it would outline those too. It outlines the extractor. And if you just drop it anywhere even near it. But also, if you were to pick something up and you didn't see an outline, you'd be like, why can I pick this up if I can't do anything with it? So, yeah. I think this theory is true. That's why I feel like I have to have voice acting, because I think people will assume it's good based on that. But I'm saying, I think those clues come from even earlier. Like the Steam page itself is probably a good indication, or like what did a friend say about it? Because I know I've told people about TV shows, and I'm like, the pilot sucks. Stay with it. You'll like it. Something like that. Or maybe the opposite. Like the show is really good, but yeah, it kind of lags toward the end of the season or something. So now it's like that person might go watch it knowing that, and they'll be like, okay, I should just stick with it. If I buy from Itch and then get a sale from Steam for it, I'll keep the achievements on Steam, or what I need to get from Zero. So, I don't know why you'd buy it on two platforms, first of all. Like, if there's a sale on Steam, you already own the game. Why would you buy it again? But in this case, there are certain achievements that you would get as soon as you open the game, and then some that you'd still need to go do again. So I think something like beat the first boss is something that you'd have to go do again. But something like obtain 50k gold is something that you shouldn't have to do again. So yeah, it all depends on which achievement. But yeah, I don't think this is a common scenario, and I don't really think it's worth supporting. Never bought a game. Hey, Leap Year Girl. Never bought a game because of anything going on in the Steam page personally. Anything? That seems impossible. Like, if you've gotten a game on Steam and you found it through browsing, I guess, then probably you would have looked at the trailer or the screenshots or the reviews or just the aggregate rating, or the price even might have convinced you, or the description of the game. Any of these things could have worked. Now, you might have always found a game outside of Steam and then just went to purchase it on Steam, in which case, yeah, all you're looking at is a buy button at that point, I guess. But yeah, it does seem weird that if you do Steam and you've bought any number of games, that you wouldn't have thought the Steam page influenced you at all. Any French speakers in the chat that would be able to verify the translation makes sense? Was this community translation or AI? It was done by Hideo, so community translation, and Hideo has done professional level translations before. So I trust that what he translated is correct. And he's a native French speaker. So yeah, I don't think it would probably be a bad translation. I think this person, I don't know. And by the way, I am curious. I haven't seen the rest of the video, and I don't want spoilers now. I know it's a very minor spoiler, but like, I'm assuming by the end of the video, they've learned they can drag items. Because if not, they're probably gonna have a bad time. Set a timer after 30 seconds, saying I'm hungry, feed me an item. Well, so here's the thing. What they did do is they got this upgrade. They put 1 point in this. So the slime was being fed every 15 seconds. They just weren't the one doing it. And like I said, maybe eventually they realize they can drag items, in which case I'd just be like, yeah, everything's fine. Trailer for sure. Never reviews, description, or rating, I don't think. Yeah, but trailer, price, those things are still part of what's on the Steam page that convinces you to get it. Otherwise, you just see a game like, oh, Skeleseller. Oh, that sounds like a cool name. I'll go buy that. I don't think that's how people get games. These days, I don't trust Steam reviews that much. My general flow, if I'm going to go find a new game, like let's say I wanted to get this game, for example, I would go to the reviews and then I'd sort by negative. Because I generally think you can glean some information from these, especially the long ones. Like this looks like, I haven't read the review. I've never seen this before, but like this looks like it was well thought out. And then in terms of like 340 people found this helpful, yeah, this is probably worth me reading. And if it sounds like this is frustrating based on that, I might be like, okay, I'll just wait. Get called out. Yeah. All right, tip system. We have a bit of a timing issue here. The town hall tip says you have enough money to build the town hall, but I don't want this to show up as soon as you have 10 gold because I want people to discover this for themselves. So we wait 60 seconds. However, 60 seconds is long enough for you to go from 10 gold up to like 30 gold. So then people end up getting an adventurer at roughly the same time that this tip pops up. And then they're like, oh, I don't have enough gold now. I'm only at 1 gold. Why did it say I have enough for a town hall? So I think we should just wait like 50 seconds here. I'm not even going to test this. Like, does it feel right? Yeah. Something I've learned from playtesting is players don't read. Yeah, it's just so weird to me that in a game with like so many items, you'd never click one of them. Like, even if you read nothing, wouldn't you just be like, can I click this? Like, there's a tooltip when you hover over it. Yeah, I don't know. Never would you download only based on the Steam page? Would you enjoy this with a friend for 50 hours? It's free to play. I think people would download free to play FPSs. Because I think, isn't there, what's that new game that came out? High Guard? Is that free to play? I don't remember actually. Yeah. Like, I went to this page and I saw Mix and I'm like, I don't know about that. And my friend is like, we should play this game. We should play this game because it's going to be super fun at launch and then it's probably going to die. And I was like, let's just play the finals. And we did. But yeah, I could see people getting free games without caring about the reviews. Because like, what are you risking? You're going to lose some time. This is dead already. Yeah. But my point is like, there's very little for you to risk, assuming there's no, virus or something. Which I trust that Steam is going to handle that. All right, so lower time it takes to get town hall tip. This will give the player time to find it for themselves, but not wait so long that they can afford an adventurer, hopefully. Okay. Fnatic fine. Also, hi. I don't think it said hi. Hey, Smack. What about Steam page for that extraction game? Copy of Escape from Tarkov? I think I think we're probably not going to extract too much more value out of this conversation, but I think it's like, is it free versus not free? And then if it's not free, you'll peruse the marketing materials. Even if it's just the trailer, but probably it's the reviews, it's probably other stuff. But for free games, yeah, I get that some people might be like, yeah, whatever. Why not just try it? It's free. What am I going to lose? Okay, so we're done with that. Release tools should just upload to Steam without asking. We're not doing Steam Deck testing right now anymore, really, right? So I should probably just... Oh, maybe I'll do that later. Yeah, let's look through the backlog. Gotta do all this Weblate stuff. Investigate why end battle screen caused a bug when physics ticks were set to 2 per second. Just doesn't make any sense how physics got involved in the process at all. Caused a bug. What was the bug? Oh. Updating the viewport size? I don't know, this isn't important. You can no longer harvest a crop while the farm is full and you're holding a potion. The crop should not prioritize trying to drop an item. Yeah, this is a little usability thing that I find kind of annoying. So let's go start a new game. These games dying is sad to me. It's like the games only exist for people as a drama or content mill. I think FPSs in particular are in a very, very difficult spot. Because in general, you need a very large player base, you need constant updates, and you either need to be super cheap or I guess have existed for a long time. I don't know. I feel like you need to go towards super cheap. So it's like the barrier for entry is incredibly high to get an FPS that actually sticks. And then, yeah, players are generally pretty critical And even if games that do well, I think they're like, well, we want all the stuff that's existed in FPSs that have been around forever. It's like, imagine making a new operating system at this point, like from scratch. You make your own thing, you call it Doors operating system. People are going to want everything out of that operating system eventually. And you're going to be like, well, look, Windows has been around for whatever it is now, 40 years or something. And it's like, even then, people still want features out of it. So how long is it going to take you with not, $1 trillion behind you to make an operating system? I think FPSs are kind of like that. During tutorial, the player has a hint that those items can be moved through cursor. The player has the hint in the form of when you build the slime, there's an exclamation mark, and then there's a dialogue that says, drag items to me. That's, and this person read that twice. I know I can do more. I haven't ever seen anyone else struggle with that, and I've watched a lot of people play Skeleseller, so I'm inclined to think it's just this person. And yeah, I could probably add a tip that's going to help that one person. Maybe after 20 or 30 seconds, we like highlight an item and say, click this. And they're like, why'd they make me do that? Maybe it still doesn't click with them. Like, it's just probably not worth doing anything about. Wasn't there a game on Steam with malware? There probably are games that show up on Steam with malware, but I think Valve would probably like shut down the developer account if they determined that was happening. And they already have a fee to get onto the store. You mean multiplayer FPS? Yeah, multiplayer FPS. Yeah, anything that, like I said, one of the things I listed was needs a big player base. If it's single player, you don't need a big player base because you only need one player. I think single player FPS is, not a gigantic barrier for entry. And it also depends on what you're doing with that game. You can make the item flash or something. Well, that's the other thing is they disappear after some time. So if you just don't do anything here, they'll eventually start flashing and then they'll disappear. And this even says this here too, like it'll automatically eat an item from the ground that would have disappeared. So I don't know, maybe this person just didn't think it was an issue. I haven't watched the rest of the video. And also this person's streaming in French, so I'm reading the captions to understand what they're saying. They'll probably eventually learn it. All right. So yeah, the issue that I wanted to set up here was this. You have the farm, your farm is full, and the crops are ready to be harvested, and you have some potions. So I save this and we load. And now I click this and I can't click one of these because it tries dropping it onto the farm. So how do we fix this? Let's go figure out the order that things are happening in. Drop off item. Yeah, so farm.drop-off item must be called before we try harvesting a crop. Does this have a click handler? Yeah, it does. And how do we... This calls harvest. All right, so let's put a breakpoint there and a breakpoint there. Let's load and start. Oh, that's weird. Why didn't it hit that? Oh, because will accept item is false. Oh, right. Okay, so it's going to do will accept item first. Yeah, my bad. What if it's a no item pickup challenge? Also, it was kind of funny in that video. The person was watching the intro, and right when their character was about to die, they're like, oh, the cat is meowing, and they look away, and then they look back, and their character's dead. And they're like, why didn't I just get an antidote? So, I don't know. Maybe they were tired or something. All right, so will accept item gets hit, and then it just absorbs the event. Okay, so what's calling that? On clicked item destination. Clicked item destination. Item drop zone. Clickable area. 51 months. Noob for lunch. Thank you very much. That is quite the amount of time. How you doing, Noob for lunch? All right, so this is coming from clickable area inside the farm. And then the other one doesn't even register. And what controls the order of this? what's this event? Input. Okay, and what is a crops event? Input, presumably? Yes, input. Okay. So crop dot clickable area. So then the thing that controlling this is where are they both in the scene tree? And it necessarily means that the farm's clickable area has to be lower than the crops in the scene tree. So we just go to the farm and shift them, it should be fine. So here's the item drop zone, and the crops are probably there. So if we just put this up here, then it should work. Sure hope I'm correct about this. Let's try it out. I hear a lot of reviewers talk about how much they appreciate when a game trusts the player and doesn't explain things to them. Then you go to a playtest and players like to talk to NPCs, Alt F4, right? Yeah, and there was, who was it? There's a guy named Aaron, and it was spelled a little unusually, like this. And he was part of some game reviewing thing, and people always kind of made fun of them for like, hey, you complain about tutorials, and then you just get stuck in these games. And I think you can have both those things be true. You can complain about tutorials and you can get stuck, and you can want the game to do a better job at guiding you. But one of the things that's difficult is the very meaning of accessibility is to make a game, in this case, able to be played by more people. And there are going to be people who are just like, I'm not going to read a single thing, or I'm not going to retain a single thing. They're not intentionally choosing these things necessarily. But yeah, what do you do when you're like, okay, I told the player 3 times. Someone need to be told 4 times. You're not going to tell every player 4 times then. You're going to have to find a better way, or be like, all right, they're just a little bit lost for a bit. So you do what you can to accommodate like 99% of your player base, at least when it comes to this stuff. I understand if there's like a colorblind setting, that might be accommodating a pretty small percent, but you do that for other accessibility reasons. But when it comes to tutorials, I feel like you do what you can. It accommodates most of the player base. The ones who are confused and still want to play will either look it up or figure it out, or just not use that thing. And then they'll probably blame the game. Doing good. Definitely odd hearing you say my whole name. I know, yeah. I don't know why I was saying that. I've been calling you noob forever. Hey, John Keebler. Very much like the game. Glad to hear it. Thanks. Yeah. Want to switch for paying for 6 months in advance? It's a good idea this month and the next month, because it'll lead into September where you then get a discount. But doing it in like April, or no, wait, does it? Do you get the discount anyway? Even if you like resub 3 months in? I don't remember. Hey, Sickog. You try to add better controller support for players who don't really use the trackpads. The controller support we have right now is the controller support we're going to have at launch. So I'll show you what this means. If I plug in a controller, this is not on the Steam Deck, right? But like, I have a virtual cursor. I can move it around. I can click things, and I can rebind the controls to other buttons if I want. And it works pretty well. It's not perfect. If we like make a new game here, you can already see me struggle to click buttons sometimes. But yeah, if I like click assign, I can press the confirm button on here, or I could have pressed the cancel button. I can like open the map or open the settings or something like that. So all this stuff is doable. It's not great. It's not like it's native controller support where it's like you press down and it moves from here to here to here to here or something like that. You just, yeah, you control the mouse. But like I said, it works pretty well. And since it's an idle game, it's like once I start a battle, so I start this battle, I don't need to do anything after that. The rogue's just going to fight on their own. They're going to eventually win, which I'll just force them to win here. And then I don't need to click these potions even. My characters will just come pick them up. So I think it works pretty well. Basically, make tutorials don't seem like tutorials, just gameplay. Yeah, there's another thing that I've talked about. Oh, what's that? Okay, let's copy this down here. There's another thing I've kind of complained about over the years, which is a manually played game versus an automated one. If you are playing like Zelda and you press a button, you will swing your sword or you'll throw a bomb. Link doesn't do that on his own. He's not just going to start attacking people. I mean, some games work that way, but that's a manually played game. So when you want to find out what does that button do? Oh, that's the jump button. You just internalize that pretty quickly. And the game doesn't need to tell you like, oh, that button you keep pressing, that's the use sword button. It's like you just see the character swinging the sword. For an automated game, there's nothing in Skeleseller that makes the rogue use a certain attack. So it's a little bit harder to teach them because there's no way to give you that feedback loop of like, oh, you just be like, what's causing this 3 damage to show up? You do not know that in the game unless you realize like, okay, this is a battle playing out. You go into your rogue thing and you see, oh, that's quick strike that must be happening. But yeah, since you didn't cause that, there's an extra layer of having to teach the player about this stuff. Hey, Geneg, and hey, Grandra. Yeah, only for new ones. Yeah. All right, so did we fix this? We just load game and then click. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And it might also try dropping the item. I'm actually not sure about that. It does. Okay. So it's doing both of them. So harvesting is not consuming the click, and it probably should be. Crop. Yeah, harvest doesn't pass in an event. We don't even have an event here. Oh, man. We probably used to. Yeah, we probably used to. Oh, no. All right, we could fix this very easily. It's just a question of do we want to? I think it's unusual that it happens. Yeah, I think it's unusual that it happens. Oh boy. Well, here's how we would change this. We do one of two things. We either change left click, what's it called? Released. Yeah, released to have an event, or we make a new action that is left click released with event. And then the listener can determine if this thing worked. Like I said, it's easy to do this stuff. I think we probably should. So, and I think that probably the right way to do it is to change the very first one here, but that's going to change like 400 listeners. And I used to have this there too. Yeah, most of these are just going to ignore the event. Then this one has collect. This is going to be a problem because it would need to take in an event. I mean, I say problem. It's not actually that bad. What bug is on the plate today? A bunch of different ones. What we're focusing on now is I made a change a little while ago where the farm is now a drop zone. So if you click here, it's actually going to put it into the extractor. By doing that, it made it so that you can't click to harvest a crop because you're going to try putting it in the farm first. So now I've fixed that. Now you can click to harvest a crop, but when you click and there's space in the extractor, it will do both. So now I got the carrot and I lost the potion. And again, this is very easy to fix. It's just a question of do we want to and do we, yeah, I think we do. So then I think we fix it. So let's just look through all these and see how annoying would this be to do. Yeah, anything with this sort of thing would be kind of annoying. Although this is only ever done here. Yeah, all right, let's just change it. Whatever. All right, so we do what? We take in an input event. Then we invoke this with the event. And then we write down here why we did this. The reason it passes the event is so that the listener can mark it as handled if needed. For example, when holding a potion and trying to harvest a crop and harvesting a crop, if the crop didn't mark the event handled, then the farm's drop zone would try consuming the potion too, which would be unexpected from the player's perspective. Yeah. Okay. We got to fix all these other things, but an ad's going to start pretty soon anyway. So I'll take my break now. It's been about an hour. I want to be mindful of breaks because I also kind of want to go long today if I can. But let's see how it goes before I start committing to things. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Okay, the ad started, but yeah, so I'm going to take my break. But for those new here, you can type join and J and a number to jump. I'll be back in a bit. Hello again, Oakleys. I'm impressed. I was just doing some leg stretches over here, so I was watching the game, and you were like off the screen for most of the last minute, but you still managed to almost come in second place. But GG, everybody. Remember, up here are all the stats. So it's first place wins, second place wins, third place wins. So Joker's won once. Oakleys has won 6 times. Dark 51 times. Close the game. Made it pretty far without doing anything. Yeah, I didn't see the beginning of it. So I can't comment on that. Disable my VPN for better latency. Oh, man. All right, so most of these are going to just ignore this because they're not stacked on top of each other. And these are all pretty simple. We pass in an input, event. This is on click. I'm just going to assume that I can do this. And if I can't, then we'll just fix the issues after this. I'm not going to explain what I meant by that, by the way. And the only other issue is this one. Oh, no, there are other issues. Left click released. On click. Signpost. Spellbook. And treasure chest. Do we call this anywhere else? Yes, we do. That's too bad. Okay, now we go back to crop and we pass in the event. No, we need harvest to return true if it harvested. Yeah, it already does. Well, then this is easy. Click to harvest. Okay, private void, click to harvest. It calls harvest, and if it returns true, well, bool was harvested. If it was true, then we event. No, wait, now how do you do this? I'll just type page up. There it is. Give viewport.set is handled. Now, what am I missing here? The curly brace. Oh, yeah, the class one. What's going on here? All right, I think that should do it. Let's try it. Yeah, you have no proof of that, Darkstorm. I might have deleted all the VODs that I talked about that and the Git history. So just 51 wins. That's it. All right, so grant a bunch of items, click that, save, click this and this and this and this and this, and then that. Nice. Look at that. It's working great. So if you do drag to the farm, by the way, this is actually a little bit, I don't know how I feel about this, but the reason we even allow you to drag to the farm is because a lot of people try dragging it to the well. And I figured, okay, we might as well just allow the whole farm as a drop zone. But beyond the first like 3 minutes of the game, well, 3 minutes after getting the farm, you probably never do this again. In fact, you probably never manually drag potions there again anyway. And eventually you unlock the quick move menu. So yeah, not sure. How happy are you with the final result as a piece of art? I'm happy with it. I like it. I like how things have gone. I think there are a lot of things we could have done better or differently. I think everyone feels that about any art that they end up doing. Oh, what else am I going to say about this? Oh, yeah. I feel like the last maybe like 2 months of development, maybe longer, it's felt like it's just polish in a way that most players don't give credit for almost. Like when you have controller support in a game, it's not like someone just, dragged and dropped a box of controller support onto their game and they're like, oh, now I have controller support. I mean, maybe there's some like Unity asset where people can sort of do that. But okay, that took time. And then fixing the bugs took time. And then testing on a bunch of different controllers took time. But when you have a game like this and people plug in a controller and they're like, oh yeah, that works. Cool. Okay. They're not like, this is the greatest game. I can't believe they did this. It's just something they kind of expect. And that feels a little bit bad. Same thing with localization. Like this French guy that I watched on YouTube, he wasn't like, oh, I'm so happy the game's in French. He was probably just like, yeah, of course it's in French. And like, I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't something people like focus on as a positive necessarily. New viewer here, did you do this all by yourself? No. Take a look at the credits at Monadic Bind linked. And welcome in, Shine. Gamers take a lot for granted. I think it's natural. I think kind of everyone does. And especially if you're not a game developer yourself, you wouldn't know what amount of work this represents. Strange that this changed order because I've saved this scene now like 4 times. Oh, good. And this stuff. Oh, maybe this changed order because of the order of the resources below. I guess I could kind of understand that. Well, hopefully nothing else changed here because all I did is change the order of this. All right, then we added in the event everywhere. This is looking pretty much fine. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. Okay. So we check in everything other than this. All right, so fix bug with harvesting crops. So if you were holding a potion that could be put into the extractor while harvesting a mature crop, it would perform both actions. Harvest plus plant. No, that's not even true. No, it would. It's the other way around. Okay, let me write this down. If you were holding a potion that could not be put in the extractor while harvesting a mature crop. No, it's not even that. If you were holding a potion while Oh my God. I'll just write it this way. The farm's drop zone out prioritized crops. So holding a potion while trying to harvest would not work. Then after changing the priorities, I created a new bug, which I fixed here. If you were holding a potion that could be put in the extractor while harvesting, it would perform both actions. Now we mark the event as handled. Nice. Do you run the UID tool? Yes, a couple of times. And it is also not item potent for some reason. But I think I think running it twice makes it work. Then it's item potent afterward. Working on Isaac clone for a bit. That was pretty easy, except for the stick dead zones. As always, it lies and depends. Yeah. Yeah, and it might matter what you consider the sort of first-class citizen of your game. So if I were making a platformer, I'm probably going to target controller because it's just such a natural experience. And mouse and keyboard of the platform, it's like, yeah, that'll work, but it's not as fun to like run and jump and crouch and sprint and whatever from a, well, I'm getting into contradiction territory. I guess it depends on the platformer. Like if there was a game where you had a gun that you could rotate around your character, I'd probably want the mouse for that. But twin stick shooters are a thing. How'd you decide which languages to make translations for? I just looked it up of what are the most popular ones and chose those. Yeah. Trying to dip my toes into game dev. Gonna sit down, open a Unity project, but always get lost in thoughts and eventually do nothing. I think that's where scope comes into play. As a software engineer, you already recognize it when you work on features for other jobs you do or other tasks you do. And the same thing is true for games. I think it's like tackle a small game at first just to see if you like game dev and then build up from there. As a software engineer, you might be capable of making a game that is more intense to begin with, but it's like, just figure out if you like it, right? Cut out these barriers. Take care, Kevin. The human effort to make it is pretty obvious at every corner. A lot of people have told me, wow, I can see how much effort this took after playing it. Yeah, I also think that if you know the person, they're going to give you nicer feedback than if you don't know the person. Like I watched YouTubers play the game and sometimes they're like, I don't really think the music's all that great. And I'm like, I spent so many hours on the music. But if I showed it to a friend, they're almost always like, did you make the music for this? And I'm like, yeah. And then they're usually impressed. But yeah, strangers don't have that same reaction. All right, so what is this about? Let's copy paste this back into VS Code so I can actually read this. And let's also shrink it down so I can see it in here. So what are we looking at? Handle input, and it's eventually saying cannot deselect tabs. Send money, create recycler, show tab. I forgot why this happens. Do we have a thing here about this? No, we don't. Sick of knowing about the effort. All right, take care, Shine. Thanks for dropping by. So perks panel tab has show tab. We call set tab hidden false. And it says what? Cannot deselect tabs. Deselection is not enabled. All right, let's find out why this happens because I don't understand this. It doesn't show anything. It still doesn't show anything. It's kind of crazy that no one's talking about this. Maybe. So what does this do? Here. If P current is not equal to -1, an index of -1 is only valid if deselecting is enabled or there are no valid tabs. Set current tab. I don't understand. Show tab, set tab hidden. This calls into set tab hidden, which is what this is. No, this is set current tab. So native code, when you call set tab hidden, must eventually call set current tab. So let's go find out where that happens. It's probably in queue redraw, maybe. No, maybe it's not that. Unless something's overridden here. Update cache. Add tab. We're not adding a tab. We're just setting it not hidden. What's this? Still an add tab. Oh no, we're not in add tab anymore. What? Why is this showing up at the top? I thought that's the function I was in. It's line 1300. I don't know why that's showing up there. Huh. Or in GUI input. Did this come from GUI input? Shouldn't this tell me? No, it came from this. Yeah, set tab hidden. So set tab hidden has to somehow do this on this frame. Well, why don't I see that here? All right, well, it's got to be one of these functions then. If scroll to selected, ensure tab visible. Maybe it's that. No. Okay, well, I mean, there are only so many functions I can look through here, right? Queue accessibility update, update minimum size, queue redraw. I don't know about this. Yeah, I don't know about this. Something's calling. All right, let's just write this down. So set tab hidden must be calling this, since that's the function where this prints. But I can't find it. Oh, wait. No. I'm in the wrong function. Yeah, I don't see something here. All right, let's copy this out of here. And yeah, let's look through everything then. Might as well. Update cache. It's got update hover. What's that do? Can I maximize this? Okay, I don't see anything there. Ensure no over offset. No, not that. Ensure tab visible. I think I already looked at. Okay. Queue accessibility update. Anything that's queuing it probably doesn't matter. And then finally update minimum size, which I wouldn't expect to have this change anything. I don't want to. Oh, it's not even here. It must be a canvas item thing. Hey, Zephyrus. Why is the GitHub code editor not the same as VS Code? Yeah, probably just due to the footprint of it. VS Code would probably be much heavier weight than whatever they're doing here. Oh, cool, Darkstorm. So yeah, it's calling set current tab somewhere, and I just can't find out where. Huh. Yeah, weird. Index to -1 is only valid if deselecting is enabled or there are no valid tabs. Or just maybe I never set a selection to begin with. I guess this always happens when you unlock the garbage slime. Does it happen when you unlock the town hall? Go try that. It's a new game. How would it make sense? It doesn't happen when you build the town hall. Does it happen when you build the garbage slime? It does happen when you build the garbage slime. I think I need to keep quitting the game every time because it can only happen once per run. Does it happen when you build the farm? It's probably anything with perks that isn't the town hall. No, it's not. It's literally just the garbage slime. What? And now it's not going to happen? Didn't I run in this before and I don't know. All right, so it's building the garbage slime first causes this. Building the town hall doesn't cause this. Building the farm, well, first. And then once a non-GS building exists, it can't happen again. So there's something special about this. Perks panel tab. I guess because it's the first one after the recycler. Does that make sense? I don't think that makes sense. Why would the order matter? Because it's the first one after that's hidden? Okay, let's try something here. Let's rearrange this so that farming is second. And let's find out if it's an order thing, because it probably is. So now if I build the farm, I'm expecting there to be an error. So new game. And build the farm. It didn't error. Except for farming says fishing perks. Okay. So you can't just move this around in the scene tree, I guess. Oh, it is kind of funny. Why can't you? Recycler perks. Does this order have to match the other one? It might have to. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. So nothing would be selected because nothing is shown. I guess we could just allow deselection. And then select it as soon as something becomes visible. Or we just ignore this in particular. It's kind of annoying though. Wait, didn't I make an issue about this? Am I just remembering this right now? But then I would have copy pasted that issue or the comment if I had. I thought I did something about this. Tab? No. I guess I didn't file an issue on this. Why does the order even change things? I only have hunches, but I don't know for sure. So, yeah, I don't really know. I could make a minimal repro. I don't really think it's worth the effort. I'm going to file an issue in our own repo for this. So what's this say? Cannot deselect tabs. Let's just copy it from here. When building garbage slime first. Repro, start a new game on a dev build. Well, it probably doesn't need to be a dev build. Build the garbage slime first. Yeah, the scroll options, I remember that, and they fixed that. You get this message. This comes from here in Godot. This. I am almost positive that it's harmless for us. In fact, what does their code even do? It literally just warns, right? Man, the thing that's so confusing to me about this is we're setting this to false. Right, where is that? Set tab hidden in tab container controller. Yeah, here. And that gets called from perks panel tab, show tab. Yeah. Weird. I don't think it's worth spending the time right now to make a minimal repro for Godot, but that's probably the route we should go. Hey, what did you just say to me? Happy 28 months. Thank you for resubbing. Other notes. Building the town hall first doesn't repro this. Building the farm first doesn't repro this. All right, I'm just going to create this and close it. How are you doing? What did you say to me? I feel bad about this. This is one of those times where I really want to do my due diligence and at least file a bug on Godot, but that process will take minimally 10 minutes, and I just don't think I can afford that for something as minimal as this. So if we ever plan to use playtesting again in the future, we should probably store save files in a different place and then update Steam Cloud. That way they don't mess with the demo or release versions of the game. Probably not super important. Maybe just a GitHub issue that I close. Each version uses the same thing. There's no way to opt out. Okay, that's not a problem anymore. This actually is not a problem either. Yeah, because the playtest version is going to have its own app ID. So playtesters will get a special file. Yeah, I'll just close this. Matt suggested making more shorts on hidden polish, showing off item text. Yeah, if I get to shorts, I might do something like that. Or shorts again, I guess. Translate screenshots and videos on each Steam page. Maybe save this for early March since it's a task that's incredibly easy but very annoying. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to file a new issue and just say, like, low priority tasks that are basically impossible to mess up. I'm going to say, here's a list of stuff that I can do before launch if I'm feeling like I don't want to code, but still want to provide minimal value. Too easy if it just job carousel. But isn't this usually due to some like name mangling that happens through some tooling that like it's just to prevent collisions or something, or probably not obfuscate intentionally, but sometimes minimize? I know it doesn't make your job any easier, but I don't think the reason is to make people's lives harder. Okay, so one of these is translate screenshots. Let's copy this over here. And we can put this as milestone of pre-launch. And I'll put this on the roadmap. Week of the 16th launch could tackle these tasks. Okay, cool. Where are we at now? Bug, which Zen found. After finishing the campaign, reloaded to complete missions, and found in only shows question mark, question mark, question mark, even after refinding the items. Yeah, this seems pretty bad. But this is just for quests? I think, but that's a cloak, right? Where do we need a cloak? Oh, in one of the final quests? Ah, yes, there it is. All right, so if I go unlock every location right now, which let's do this with minimal cheating, I can just force an unlock of everything. I need money. So I said minimal cheating. We're not cheating. All right, so this is always going to just show that. Yeah, now we got to do that. I'll speed this up a bit. Okay. Making our way through the map. Keep going. And then we should find this in the jungle, which is unfortunately another like 14 clicks away. Sorry, I know this is tedious. I'll save the game after that and I won't need to do this again. I'm getting achievements like crazy. All right, now we are at the forest, or the jungle, I mean. So let's save here and slow this down and then win this battle. And now we see found in jungle. So if I were to copy my save file, save.json over to temp/save.json. Now I save and load. Yeah, it says found in question mark, question mark, question mark. Wouldn't surprise me if LinkedIn did that on purpose to make scraping more difficult. Yeah, that is, yeah. If it's LinkedIn, then yes, that makes sense. Because I think any site where data is sort of part of the product, so like social media sites, for example, yeah, they don't want you just like taking all their data and putting it on your own front end and then potentially monetizing that front end. And LinkedIn is one of those cases. I mean, LinkedIn is social media. As opposed to a site where, I don't know. Actually, yeah, I don't know what a good example of a site where you wouldn't care about that would be. Maybe something like a personal blog where there's just not enough attention on it. All right, so if we search for question mark, question mark, question mark, we should only find a couple places. And it's here. Select should show rewards. So this is false. If we're in challenge mode, it's always true. Otherwise, it's get highest elite level defeated. Or just beaten instances not contained. So this isn't true? Really? I'm guessing this is empty? It's empty. Okay, is this because of how we load from a save file? Set up locations. This is in the init. And then we just never update them afterward? Load. We never update them afterward. Well, well, well. All right, so what should this do? It should call update instance unlock status. How is this not happening? All right, let's copy this stack trace. This is what should happen. This should happen after loading. Hey, Chef Alton. Just use Claude API for getting around it. Out of curiosity, Egg, what are you trying to do? Almost every big site has something in their terms of service about don't scrape our site. Not that that should change your goal, I guess, but I made a YouTube video a while ago, Adam Learns YouTube, where I talked about the YouTube API. Where is this? Shouldn't be this hard to find. I guess it's under videos. Maybe I just search there. There it is. YouTube API sucks. Anyway, I made this video, and one of the things I talked about toward the end, and I'm not explaining a lot of this video, is that you can't work around the API being bad. And I point out in the YouTube thing, there's this like no scraping clause. And someone commented that, hey, I think a workaround would be to like open YouTube in your browser and then use some JavaScript. I'm like, this is scraping though. So yeah, I think this is just always going to be a thing people resort to. Not via LLM, but for some actors we do this. Makes me happy to see them in the logs, feasting on that randomly generated data. So what happens after loading? Because apparently none of this stuff. We just call create route if unlocked. Doesn't one of these functions do that? It does. Update instance unlock status. So I should have called that instead of whatever I'm calling. And then that should fix this problem. There. All right. I think it's fixed. It'll continue forever. Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know what this will exactly do for the internet. You know, sometimes I kind of long for simpler times, but that still have high tech. Like you just make a site and put it online, and you don't have to worry about like AI scraping your page or I don't know, a whole bunch of other potential attacks that could happen. The TOS is not in JavaScript. I don't read it. I'm trying to make a web scraper that automatically scrapes the LinkedIn job page for jobs that match my creds and notifies me throughout business hours. Yeah, look, I don't work for LinkedIn. I don't like LinkedIn, but this is definitely a take. If the TOS is not in JavaScript, I don't read it. I bet if it were in JavaScript, you still probably wouldn't read it. But yeah, I understand. You're probably trying to find a job and you just want to maximize your chances. Yeah. Hey, Pariah. Attacks were very easy in the old days when you could access inner HTML. Yeah, there were a lot of attacks based on using one of like the two frameworks that existed back then. There were a lot of attacks just based on people not knowing what was the right way to do things. You also couldn't do things very expressively or easily because of lack of browser support. Yeah. And that's why I recognize how we got to where we are. I want some of the pros from back in those days and some of the pros from what we have now. Not compromising. Yeah, but I mean, if LinkedIn were the best service in the world, you'd probably still do this, right? Like, presumably they have some paid offering. I'm not saying it's great, but they probably have something where they're trying to help you in this scenario too, ostensibly. This still isn't working. Did I load from the right save file? I did. Wow, I would have expected that to work. Huh. So when we load from a save file, we do this. This is in all the unlocked ones. And then we call update tooltip, which is overridden by all of these. Battle tooltip update. Get without rewards info. Should show rewards. Okay. That's wrong still. But this is called from somewhere else. It's called in quest progress item. Okay, maybe that's the real problem here. Oh, yeah, what I would have changed is something different. Okay, let's go take that out of there for a second. So I think it's a problem with the load order between the tavern and the instance map. Whole existence of the documents means they're meant to be legally available for all citizens. Yeah. Scrape all you want, just make sure you can't be sued. Man, I think this is moral relativism. I don't really like the stakes are very low in this conversation. But I always the way I think about this, okay, yeah, so this is working fine. So I think we need to load the quest thing after the instance map. The way I always think about this is when will people use this logic against me for a game that I make, for example? And yeah, I don't know. It'll probably happen pretty rapidly. It's like if Skeleseller becomes popular, let's say it sells $10,000 worth of copies. That's not a crazy amount of money for 2 years of work. It's like way less than minimum wage would have been. But people might look at that and be like, oh, the game's successful. I will pirate it. The developer won't care. And it's like, they'll probably find some justification to do this, right? And they won't care that like, well, I'm an indie developer. You know, I'm not like Blizzard Entertainment. And yeah, that's kind of what I think about when I do this stuff. I scrape my plate for the last calorie. LLM. large I'm not clever enough right now to come up with something. Pirating is one thing. People literally re-upload the whole game on Steam or on mobile platforms or something. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? Pirating is one thing in this case because I'm making a single player game. But back when I was making Botland, like what if people are like, well, whatever, I'm going to automate creation of accounts or something. Or I'm going to, I don't know, hit some API in the Botland server just over and over and over. And yeah, I think in general, the people doing that stuff probably won't really care. Oh, do we not have routes in here? What's going on? Huh. This is apparently unnecessary. Because of this? Oh, because we call it update instance unlock status anyway. Okay. So yeah, we can delete that. Can't do that because you did. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of maddening. Did you also put some anti-piracy trolling thing in the game? I have not done something like that. I don't think it's worth putting a lot of effort into stopping piracy because people will just work around it eventually anyway. I think at best you could do some like cutesy thing just to try to get someone who pirated the game. Like, hey, you've been playing for 3 hours now. Like, you must like the game. Could you just, I don't know, go subscribe on Twitch or something? Even that'll give me like $2. But that would rely on me detecting that it's been pirated, and I don't know how I would do that. People that will try and rip you off will do so, regardless of how morally adherent you are in your product. Separate from Megacorps breaching the spirit of IP laws and Pikachu facing when people do it the other way. Right. I think my point is people who are going to do bad things are going to do bad things regardless. And they'll find a justification for it. And that's it. That's my point. It doesn't matter if the bad things are actually justified. It's that they're going to justify them regardless. So that even when they're in the wrong, they'll still be like, well, here's why I'm not in the wrong. I've seen this happen in a bunch of different realms. I think one of the common ways I see that I don't think people realize that they're doing is there is usually a stated reason for, or no, sorry, there is not a stated reason. There's usually a policy. And it could be something. It could be like keep off the grass, right? This is a sign you've probably seen in your city or in your town or something at some point in your life. And what we do is we ascribe a reason to it. And the reason might be valid. It might be the reason. It might be something like they want the lawn to look nice. So you shouldn't like stomp on whatever, the grass, whatever. But this might not be their reason for it. Their reason might actually have been something like there's some like I don't know, protected species of worm that you're killing. I'm contriving a scenario, right? This has probably never happened, but let's say that was a reason. Now, when you're doing this, you're like, oh, here's why this is okay because I'm wearing like snowshoes that's spreading out the pressure over the area so that I'm not actually really stomping on the grass when this is what they were trying to do. I've seen this happen so many times in so many different areas where someone's like, oh, hey, I rented an Airbnb, but they had this policy about like, you need to clean up afterward, but I wasn't actually dirty while I was in the place. So, or any number of things that I've seen over the years. And it's like, well, we pick a reason and we refute that reason, but we don't know what the intent was. And even if you understood the intent, it might not matter because anyway, yeah. Anyway, this kind of happens with policies of scraping or piracy or any other thing. So the tavern loads from a save file. Getting back to this task here. And we do not set up rewards again. I got to find out where that's being done. Update tooltip. Yeah, let's put a breakpoint here. So this is called from this before we've loaded the map. Where do we load the map? Or do we load the map? Is it in UI? It's probably in UI. Instances manager. No, it's not that. This one? No. Huh. Well, I guess I'm doing this kind of a stupid way. Oh, there it is. Right there. Okay, so we need a tavern to happen after this. So let's go find the tavern. Here it is. Cut that out. Put that down over here. Load this after loading the battle panel so that quest rewards won't show as question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay, there we go. I did not work at LinkedIn, excuse me. Can actually help more than hurt. Yeah, yeah. Piracy was probably a bad example. Piracy is generally something where if there is no word of mouth component afterward, then it's not helping the developer at all. And depending on how the game is hosted, which in this case will be Steam and itch, it could potentially hurt the developer. But then yes, I recognize there's a knock-on effect of people sharing the game and then buying it. Goes down to perspective and how reasonable people are. I think it depends on the policy and how reasonable or clear it is. People need some basis to follow the rules aside from I said so. Yeah, you know, okay, so here's the other side of this perspective. I understand this as a take, but I think that anyone who's in a position where they're making policies or rules will be frustrated by just people acting in the same way that they're acting. And I think that's what I find kind of most interesting about this. As an example, let's just take some generic thing like entitled gamers. Like I want more content, or the price is too high, or any other complaint you might envision about a game. Now imagine that one of those gamers becomes a game dev. They are very likely going to be on the flip side of this, where they're going to be like, okay, well, here's why I set the price at this. And guess what? Gamers aren't going to care. They're going to be like, no, your game's priced too high. And then they'll experience the frustration that they might have caused in the past. That's what I find kind of interesting about this. So it's like, I don't know what I'm not trying to call you out or anything, but I don't know if you've ever set a policy or a rule in your life and you've seen people violate it and you've been like, what do I do about this? Or if that policy has bothered you at all. You know, maybe it could be anything. And it's like, once people have that, so sorry, let me close the loop on this. Once people have that perspective, I think they start acting with a little more empathy usually, but getting that perspective is something that'll never happen for most people, just because they won't be in that situation. Like, how many gamers become game devs so they can understand what goes into making games? Not very many. And I'm not saying that's a problem on its own, but as a result, they won't naturally get the perspective of, oh yeah, here's why what I'm doing might not be right. So they don't gain that empathy, when I feel like you should have some empathy by default for, this might have been a difficult process for a person, or here's why they might have done this, or here's what might have led to this. But because you don't have all the facts and aren't going to go research it, you won't find that, and you'll just be like, well, here's what it must have been, and then get mad at that reason. It's almost like straw manning any policy you come across. Yeah, leap year girl. It does sound frustrating. I've heard these sorts of identity loops that you have to keep jumping through. And it sort of happened to me in the past, and yeah, it's just frustrating. Hey, yo, hey, Kinjack. Do you have some video or post talking about your workflow of writing or documenting things on Google Docs? Does it have a name or something that I could search for? No, not really. I will write this down up here, because this is kind of similar to what someone asked me about earlier today. I'd like to make some content along these lines, but I really want to work on Skeleseller for right now, so I don't know when this would happen exactly. Yeah, this is kind of what it boils down to in a sentence. It's like those who've worked in the service industry versus those who haven't, and how they treat service employees. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Don't distract me. I'm trying to say that making a video would probably be an unwanted distraction for me right now. Okay, so I believe we fixed this. I did not actually test it. We're going to go test it right now. I just click this button and hover over the cape, and it should show that it was found in the jungle. Well, it should break in because I have a breakpoint, but then it should show that it was found in the jungle. Perfect. But if I've never completed those areas, it should not show that. So this is an easier thing to test. I'm not going to spend forever on this. Don't worry. All I need to do is unlock the tavern and then click this, and this is a question mark. I save and I load. It should still be a question mark. Then I go beat the forest, and I save and I load, and now it should be only one set of question marks. Yeah, perfect. Because I've already beaten the forest. What's your shirt made out of? I'm not totally sure, but yeah, I really like this shirt in general. I want to buy more of them, but I don't know how to get them. Okay, so this is technically just remove unnecessary line of code. What was that line of code? Yeah, so create route if unlocked is called as part of update instances unlock status below. And then this fixes, yeah, a bug. Fix bug with quest progress. So repro is this. Beat a location that drops the current quest, an item from the current quest. Save, load. When loading, you would see item found in question mark, question mark, question mark, because we were loading the tavern before we loaded which locations you've beaten. Cool. Hey, Atomic. Oh, it's not leather. I don't know what it is exactly. I'll write this down too, and I can check it. Red shiny shirt. Coincidentally, I've been watching Community again, and I just got to like episode 4 or 5, where I forgot the guy's name, Vaughn. Shirley asks him, "Hey, what's your shirt made out of?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he just takes off his shirt, and he's like, "Let me see." Oh, it's no, it wasn't. What's your shirt made out of? It's where'd you get your shirt? He's like, "Oh, it's Hanes." How are we doing today? Doing pretty well. Really good. All right, so this is done. This is if we come back to perf stuff, which I do want to do at some point. Parallelize release tool. I'm going to skip that for now. Actually, you know what? Let's file an issue for this. Let's just put a where I left off here. Do I have any more of those? I do have one. What is this? Off stream. This is pretty much done. I'm just going to delete that. Yeah, hey, Remy. Parallelize release tool. Okay, we could parallelize release tool, at least for exporting builds. It took this to export 3 builds before, but now we export 6 builds. No, yeah, I'll file it first, but then I think I'm just gonna close this. I don't really think this is worth doing. Oh my god, I've got to clean the stupid T key. Get this. So much cat hair just came out of that. Okay, does it double type? No, nice. Maybe it could be a task for an AI, but we're close enough to launch that it's not worth spending time on this. Do the whole keyboard. So normally I do the whole keyboard and I use canned air and like fully clean it. Abby Taj. Hey, Sincel. I showed the picture to my wife. She really liked it. For those who haven't seen it, here's the picture that Sinistello drew of my cat Oso. And he really captured her well. I don't know if I have the reference photo still, but here's a sample photo from when she was sitting on my lap. And then here's Sinistello's photo. Pretty great. What switches do I have? Kale reds. I don't think they're anything like super special. And I've got it somewhere in a bill of materials. Where would I find that? Adam 13531 / CR. No, wait. What's the repo called? I thought it was CRKBD. I don't know. Oh. There it is. It is CRKBD. Huh. Why wasn't that auto-completed in my search bar then? Huh. Strange. Okay, so here's the list of parts, and I got... Yeah, this. Chalk red crystal. Do I have a picture of it up here? No. All right, for Skeleseller tips, maybe subtly flash them from dark to light if people don't click them. Yeah, this is something that someone said in a YouTube comment. Like, oh, the only way people notice tips is if you start flashing them. So I kind of want to see what happens if we do this. How do I load from save tip system? Just don't even load that. What's that going to do if I don't load from there? Yeah. All right, let's try this. Managed to find the boogeyman in the garbage. Happy with the current performance. I'm not happy with it yet. No, but I haven't done the work that I know needs to be done now. So we had a whole bunch of things going. Yesterday, the biggest problem was Steam Cloud. So here's what happened for those who want a quick summary. Skeleseller is on all 3 major desktop operating systems. And on Windows, everything was fine. On Mac, everything was fine. And on Linux, it was broken. And this is Steam Cloud in particular. So I would either have expected all of these to work or to not work. But when it doesn't work on just one platform, I assumed, oh, I must have made a mistake somewhere or something. So I spent a long time investigating. Chat helped out a lot. And then at the end, I had a question, which is, what if I grant one of the like Linux users a launch key of Skeleseller? And they claimed it, just claiming it, never launching it, fixed the problem with the demo. Now, I understand kind of what happened behind all of this, and I could go into more detail if anyone really wants to hear it. But yeah, this drove me nuts. So I updated my notes. If you go to Steam Cloud now, I think I have this written down here at the bottom. Wait, did I not write this down? What's it called? Shared? Oh, shared cloud storage. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I wrote my notes here on this. So if anyone wants to read more about it, there it is. But yeah, this was crazy. Hey, Sofameyer. All right, so if we launch a game, I don't know if I've launched a game. Did I? Yeah, I probably did. All right, it's a new game. It should show a tip. Might need to wait a tiny bit of time. Actually, you know what I could do? I could just build the farm and then get myself a ton of sludge. There. So now a tip should show up saying I can level up my inventory. Yeah. So if you wait 50 seconds here, it's going to expand this a little bit. But some people don't see it even after it's been expanded once. So I was thinking of a couple different things. One is we could just keep expanding it a little bit more each time. It's like stretching out dough, and then it starts covering like the whole screen. Or we limit it to like half the screen or something. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of funny to do. Oh yeah, there it goes. I just closed the thing as I was doing it. But I could probably show you over here. So close other tabs. If we play out this animation. Oh, it's a very long animation, so we need to skip to the end. Yeah, so we play out this animation. That's what this looks like right now. So yeah, what if every single time that played out, it got like 10% bigger than it got the last time? Because that's kind of how I want to solve this. Or it got more frequent or something. More frequent is probably a little bit annoying. Unless it's very slightly more frequent. Right now it's after 55 seconds. It plays a roughly 2-second animation. And that animation goes to plus 20% scale. So what if it's like minus 1 second per loop until it hits 30 seconds and like plus 5% scale per loop until it hits whatever that works out to be, 25 times 5, 125, so 145% scale. Although, how long would that take? It'd be... Oh, there's some like Gaussian way to do this, right? 55 times 56, I don't know why I put parentheses, divided by 2. So 1540 seconds if it were everything up until that, and then 30 times 31 divided by 2. So it'd be 1540. I think I'm doing this right. I don't know for sure. But it'd be 17, so 18 minutes for it to get to these numbers, 145% scale. Which is quite a long time. So maybe minus 2 seconds per loop or something, which I'm not going to do the math on that again if I'm even correct. Oh, you know what? And that is running. I'll think about this when I get back. I'll take a break. Yeah, because I want to make sure I'm actually stepping away from the computer. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again, everybody. Close the game. Okay. So if we're going to do this, then we can't use the animation system. We need to set up these tweens through code, which is fine. But then we should probably have a way of just starting the game and seeing a notification box appear immediately. So let's go figure out how to do that. Yeah, in fact, I'll write down the steps for this. So get a notification box to show immediately, convert tweens to run through code, and then do -2 seconds per loop plus maybe 10. What did I say originally? Plus 5% scale per loop. It's 10% scale per loop. That'll look a little crazy after some time. Okay, so get the notification to show immediately. Let's go figure that out. So somewhere in here we have, yeah, timeout. And we have tips we can show, we add. And then we do show tip. Okay, so in ready, we should be able to just do this. Tip ID dot whatever, it doesn't matter, that one. All right, so I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna start a new game. It should show the tip about you have enough money to unlock the canyon. Click the portal. New game. It did not show it immediately. There's a reason for that, and I ran into this the other time too, and I don't remember what it was. Shown tips contains. It shouldn't. Tip that is showing has value. That shouldn't. Ah, here it is. Elapsed time if it's less than that. So we need to set this to a higher number. Last tip time. Last tip time should just be 0. Or even like -500. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Now we should have this show by default. Still doesn't. Oh, we're going to figure this out. You better believe it. I should make a debug show tip. That's not going to have this happen, huh? Has met conditions to show. Ah, I see. That's our problem. I don't want to check if we've met the conditions. New. Okay, we call show and it still doesn't work. Really? What am I missing now? Come on. I'm just trying to maximize the window. I don't know why this takes a very long time sometimes. Let's try again. No. All right. Oh, there it goes. All right. Where are you failing? Why are we here? What? What happened? Did I not restart? No, I must have restarted, right? We call show tip. We get into this. I'm just going to set a breakpoint there. It never gets down to that? Because what, the tip dictionary isn't set? Story mode tips? Oh. Because of that. I see. Okay, yeah. We can't do it from ready. We need to do it from init because each tip needs the town. Cool. All right, so that was step 1. That took me a long time. Next is to convert these to tweens in the code. Should be pretty simple, right? Because all we're doing is changing the, what is this, scale of the notification box. And then what causes this to even play in the first place? Because it's not set to autoplay, is it? Oh, it is set to autoplay, but the other tips don't last for 55 seconds. If they did, we'd have the same thing happen, right? Display time 5. Let's set this to 500. And then let's tone this down to be, I don't know, let's just move all this to the side. There, after like 10 seconds. So now, if I'm not mistaken, even the hired the mage kinds of tips. Oh, wait, there was a way to do this before. You could have had this happen if you'd hovered over these because it stops the timer. So I hover over, well, it's not obvious now because I set it to a really long time. But I think they should both get bigger in a second. Yeah, they do. That was never intended. Yeah, so you could have had this happen in the demo right now if you just hovered over this and just left the mouse there. It'll eventually get bigger, even though you're already pointing at it. Okay. Well, yeah. Gotta get some food before I keel over. All right, take care. Yeah, I should be online for a decent amount of time today. Oh, I'm getting pretty hungry too. Yesterday, knowing that I'd have a late lunch, I grabbed a protein shake on one of my short breaks. And it was probably right around now. So my body's like, feed me. I want food. So a couple ways we can do this. One is have a timer and then kick off the tween, and just don't kick off the tween if you're hovering over this thing to begin with. I think that probably makes the most sense, as opposed to having a tween that just keeps looping and getting shorter and shorter. So we'll make a, what should we call this? Notification timer. We should probably call this one emphasis timer. Yeah, that's good. So if it's not persistent, do this. If it is persistent, we want to make the emphasis one. This one is not one shot. And it's wait time. We should probably customize all this stuff up here. Private, const, double, start, emphasis, wait time. It was about 55 seconds. I think that's actually pretty good. Yeah. Where is that? So here. So we set this here, start. And then, oh, is that a floating point? No. Then on timeout, we're going to do emphasize notification. Man, I'm not typing well. And add this. Okay. So now in here, private void that. So if the mouse is over it, we don't have an is mouse over. How do we know to, there it is, on mouse entered. Yeah, we just don't keep track of this. Okay, well, we'll keep track of it. Private bool is mouse over. Mouse entered, we'll set that to true. Mouse exited, we'll set that to false. And then if is mouse over, then we're just going to restart the timer, I think. What do we do here? Emphasis timer.start. Can you specify a time in here? Yeah, just wait a few seconds, I guess. Well, if the mouse is over it, you saw it, but you might not have seen it because, no. If the mouse is over it, you might not have seen it. You might have just been dragging the mouse to something else. So we can't assume that you saw it. So let's just wait 5 seconds and then try again. And yeah, return here. But if the mouse isn't over it, we're going to create a tween. And yeah, tween the scale to the new scale. So let's save a private, I think this is a float, emphasis scale equals 1.2. So we're gonna move to that over the course of, I think it was 1 second. I gotta zoom in on this. It was here. What? Why can't I read this? Do I need to expand this? What? What am I looking at? Why does it say 0.5576? Shouldn't that be 10.5576? Oh, yeah. I think that's a bug. Look at that. When it's at 9, it says 9.9 whatever. But when you go over to here, it just can't fit. So it looks like it's at 0 point something, even though there's actually a 10 over there. Huh. All right, let's take a quick look. What's this thing called? Animation position. Animation position. Truncate. Truncated, cut short, or incomplete. Performance. Name truncated. Can you drag the vertical line next to it? No. Huh. Length input field missing. Length can only be added as text. Scroll bar broken. Timeline display bug. Displayed frames forward if there's another animation track. Movie set animation frame. No, it's not that. Flickering. Animation player name overflowing. No, okay. So I think, I mean, truncate might have thrown this thing off. Maybe just search for cutoff. I'm not doing another search after this, though. After this, I'm going to just file the issue. Because I've done enough searching for this. Rotation, truncated, cut short. No, yeah. Okay. All right. I don't see anything there. What about unclosed issues? Yeah, I don't see anything there. All right. Let's file an issue on this then. I wonder if it has to do with the size of the editor or something. In fact, I should just record this as a Twitch clip, right? All right. Well, here we go then. I am on Godot 461 stable. And in the animation player, if I scrub over this timeline, this shows up correctly here, 9.5. But then after I get to 10, it stops showing the 1 in 10. And no amount of resizing this will change this. And I can't resize this bit here. So I can select over to here to see that it's 10, but I can't see it originally. And it makes it a little bit hard to tell where is this point in the timeline. Okay, can someone clip that, please? And if not, I'll just write down what time it is in the VOD and I'll clip it later myself. But it'd be a lot easier if someone else did it. So 2 hours, 22 minutes, 38 seconds. 2H22M38S. I have a clip for an issue that I want to file on Godot. Okay. So where do we leave off here? Yeah, this. So yeah, I wanted to see what amount of time this was taking. So this is 10.5 up to 11.6. So roughly a second up to 12.6. So yeah, each one's about a second. So this is going to take 1F. And then we're going to tween it back down to 1. This is not how you tween scales though, is it? You try to expand the box by removing tools from that bar. I haven't, but as this has more space, it doesn't actually apply any of it to this. This always stays the same size. In fact, even if I shrink this down as much as possible, the thing that is changing size is only this drop down. So I think they just need to set a minimum length on this or no wrap or something and make it expand to fill the container. I think it's just a small oversight. They'll probably know how to fix it and everything. And if you did have to remove tools, I'd say that's not the right solution. Like the user shouldn't have to change stuff in here to see that, oh, hey, I just selected something and I can't tell what time it is. All right, so we do this somewhere else. Yeah, we make a new vector 2. And how do we chain these together? Like this. Tween dot tween property, yeah. All right, so new vector 2. Emphasis scale, emphasis scale. And then this will be vector 2.1. And that's that, right? And then once we're done with that, tween callback. Now we're going to start this timer. Emphasis timer dot start. Emphasis wait time. And then emphasis scale plus equal emphasis scale increase. So this is going to be private const float scale increase is going to be 0.1. And then the emphasis wait time decrease is going to be 2 seconds. Emphasis, we don't even have that. We got to track that. Where is it? There's start wait time. Yeah, I want that. Private double emphasis wait time. Minus equal that. Cool. I think we're good. Cannot convert to callable because it's not a delegate. Don't I need to do callable.from, I think? Yeah. Oh God. There we go. Thank you, Atomic. I appreciate it. I will give you a point. Then this appears to be a bug where developers say it's working as designed and then do nothing. I mean, we'll let the Godot people decide that, right? They might say that. And if they do, then okay, sure. But I mean, I could always just produce a PR that fixes it. I don't think they'll do that, though. I think they'll just say it's not working. I do want to watch this really fast. Why can't I hear anything? Oh. It shows up correctly here 9.5, but then I am on Godot 461 stable. And in the animation player, if I scrub over this timeline, it shows up correctly here 9.5. But then after I get to 10, it stops showing the 1 in 10. And no amount of resizing this will change this. I can't resize this bit here. So I can select over here to see that it's 10, but I can't see it originally. It makes it a little hard to tell where is this point in the timeline. Cool. So now we file that. Godot, new issue. Bug report. Okay, so what is this thing called? Animation position in seconds. So the animation position label input can get truncated. Tested versions. Go over to here. Click. Reproducible in this. System information, Mac OS, Sequoia. 15.6.1? I don't actually remember. I never remember this. 15.6.1. Wow, look at that. I took a clip of this happening, including the repro. Clip of this happening. And then we'll just take a picture of this. Yeah. I am at 10.5701, but this box shows 0.5701 due to truncation. There. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Atomic. Do you use globals a lot? Just curious, since it seems like a contentious topic and I want to know your opinion on them. No, not a lot. There are some things that are static in the game. We try not to use singletons for things. My general philosophy is that it makes it much harder to test, even though we haven't written tests. On the flip side of that, it's generally much quicker to develop using globals because you can just access stuff from wherever. So I think there is some trade-off, and especially for game dev, where you just want things to be fast sometimes. It's not necessarily the worst. I think maybe it's only a visual issue. I don't think that's the case, but we'll leave it to them to figure that out, I guess. Because yeah, at this point I've done this. So just make an animation player. Allow, what do you do for this? What do you call this? Change, what is this called? Change the animation length. Change the animation length to be something like greater than 10 seconds. And then all we need to do, I guess you need to add an animation and then set the length to be like 15. Create a new animation, change the animation length to be greater than 10 seconds, and then click beyond the 10-second mark in the timeline. Yeah. Minimal report project, not applicable. Well, I guess it is kind of applicable. I just don't want to do this. Normally I'd include a zip here, but the repro is so quick to set up. Fine, I'll just include the zip. I want to do this. I want to save myself time filing issues. Create, what is this? Animation, position, repro. Put this in the Godot folder. Good, no git, create. Add the animation player. Whoops, that's not an animation player. Add an animation. And set this to 15. And click over here. Oh, it doesn't repro here. I guess the granularity that you have matters. It's probably because there's that 0.3 there. No, it keeps adding the 0.3 again. 0.03333. That's the same thing I have here, right? 0.0333. That's strange. Is it a zooming thing? Oh, yeah, you need to zoom. Okay. Hey, Amsterdam. I'm not vibe coding, no. I ain't COD. You really export your game in zip? Is there something more to this message? Like, what do you think is wrong with doing this? Move to beyond, since it doesn't actually require a click. I think the video that I included in this is going to make this clear. So I do need to zoom here. Apparently that's the important part. Create an animation, change the animation length, and then zoom in a bit so that the granularity of the animation position is more precise. I mean, I'm not even coding right now, just to be clear. I'm just reproducing a bug in Godot. All right, so yeah, there's our minimal repro, and I can just save this as main.tscn and then go and upload that. So inland code Godot animation position repro. I don't even need the icon for this. So copy this over to temp. Whoops. No, give that to me. Here it is. All right. Now where'd that go? There it is. And then delete. What's going on? There we go. Delete these two things. And now compress it. And put it on here. Cool. All right, I think this is pretty good. Of an animation player can get truncated. All right, great. I wouldn't give my work like this if it's a commercial game, but as you like. I feel like you're not understanding what's going on here. I'm just finding an issue in the Godot repo, and they literally ask for a zip file, don't they? I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah, a small Godot project which reproduces this, drag and drop a zip archive onto it. Like, if they say they want a zip, I'm just going to put it in a zip file. I don't know why that would be a problem. Okay, so I think this should work now. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted the 1 second thing. I think this is all good. Let's start it at a lower amount of time though. Let's set it to, well, whatever we decrease this to, it's got to have a limit. So private const float minimum emphasis wait time. We'll set this to 30 seconds. And I'll put that here. I'll just do it this way. Mat.max that, comma, emphasis, wait time minus this. And then the scale should only increase in that case too. Okay, so this is actually kind of a dumb way to do this. I should do it this way. If emphasis wait time is greater than the minimum, then subtract it. We don't need this stuff anymore. We can put this back in. And I also want to change the scale, but only in that case. And start this regardless. This timer is just going to keep going. Yeah, I think we should be fine. Let's try it out. I'm going to set these numbers lower than they are right now, so that I don't have to wait forever. Let's set it to 10 minus 0.2 and set the minimum to 5. And go try it. Let's see how it looks. So after 10 seconds, we can close this one. After 10 seconds, that's going to get bigger. It's going to get 20% bigger. So probably to like there-ish. That was a... Yeah, cool. Okay, so that looks good. I forgot the easing. So now it's going to take 9.8 seconds and then get 30% bigger. Right? Feels like it's been 9.8 seconds and nothing happened. So I probably messed this up. Tween callback is after 1 second. Callback.from. If this is greater than the minimum, minus equal that. Wait time decreases 0.2. Scale is 0.1. Start the timer again. Huh, what am I missing? I wonder if this call is being hit. Oh, it did happen there. Oh, I have another animation player. I forgot about that. I gotta delete that. Yeah, this shouldn't be here. Dot play. Do we even get the animation player? We do. Stop attention grabbing animation. This will prevent the attention grabbing animation from playing. It's the animation that increases size of notification. I only plan to use this function once for the very first tip that shows saying to keep battling. The reason why we don't want the animation to play for that tip is because it'll take most players more than a minute to trigger the conditions. Oh, that was nice of me. Okay, so we can just turn off the emphasis wait time. Or emphasis timer, or whatever it's called. That one. Yeah, stop. Alright, but other than that, we can get rid of this, and that's it. Why did the achievement show cloud error? I'm not sure why that's happening. Yeah. I'm not sure why that's happening. And I wanted to change the set ease in out. And same thing there. And then there's set transition as well. What does this do again? Sets type of used, the type of used transition. And what is this? Transition type. That's strange. Shouldn't I be able to go to that? What is it by default, I wonder? Probably linear. And yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's fine. I'm okay with this. All right, so let's try this out again. Maybe that's what was going wrong here. I don't totally know. In fact, let's just have it print out when we started the timer. Timer started with that much time. I heard it twice. Yeah, it could be a bunch of different things. Actually, looking at that. Cloud error never be applied every time the game starts. Like 400 tiers of that. I like it. Okay, so we close out of that. So this is going to expand. I want to mark roughly where the mouse, or roughly where it stops using the mouse. Should happen very soon. Come on, what is going on here? It should only take 10 seconds. It's been longer than 10 seconds, right? What is happening with that? Started the timer, did it not? start 10. Yeah. Although, where do I start the timer initially? Oh, I set the wait time. Wait time is set to this, which is set to 10. Okay, so is this happening somehow? Because this is the only thing that can stop it. But that would assume that the mouse is over this, which it isn't. And otherwise, none of this is happening, right? Huh. All right, let's put a breakpoint there. Let's try this again. Okay, that's weird. Why would the timeout get... Oh, that's in it. I thought that was a timeout. Okay, so we're setting this for... Do we have text here? Yeah, we have text. Yep, looks good. Okay. So set the timeout and add it. Does this not start by default? Maybe it doesn't start by default. Huh. I don't think that's true, though. I think it does start by default. What does this say? Construct and initialize. Huh. Okay, maybe it doesn't start it by default. Mouse entered positive. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Huh. Then how did this ever work to be? Oh, it only works because of the animation player. Oh, man. Maybe. I'm not even sure that's true. Yeah, it is true. Okay. That's a really basic thing. The reason I didn't think that was the case earlier is because I had the animation player set to be at 55 seconds, but I lowered it to 10 for the sake of this. Well, if we're going to call start anyway, there's no real reason to set the wait time. Oh, yeah. Let's try this now. All right, now I'm expecting it to work. Let me maximize that. So we wait about 10 seconds. In fact, I can speed that up. There. That probably shaved a second off. So now it should increase. Good. So it went to about there. Now the next time it increases in size, it should get even bigger. And it should be faster and faster that it does this. Realistically, most players are going to see this after 2 or 3 times. But yeah, now it went to about here. And now it'll take 9.6 seconds, and it's going to go another 10%. Yeah, I think this is good at catching attention. Remember, that would have taken 3 minutes to play out in the real game. So now if we speed this up some more, we'll see what it gets to at its absolute limit. And it's not obvious that it's getting bigger because the increased speed is making it grow faster. But we speed this up a little bit more. It's eventually getting down to 5 seconds. If you wait long enough, would it go off screen? Probably. I mean, you certainly could like shrink this down and it would go off screen pretty quickly, actually. But you wouldn't want to play the game in this small a screen anyway. So there we go. This is what it'll look like after a whole bunch of times of running this. It's a little snarky, I think. Although maybe that's not possible with the numbers that I set up. I don't know. We should probably cap the scale at 200%. Max emphasis scale. Set it to 2. Yeah. Okay, so let's speed this way up now. So start emphasis wait time is going to be like 3 seconds, and it's got to be more than, yeah, I guess it's got to be 4. Let's make it do this, and the minimum will be 2.5. Okay, let's try that. Spawn 50 pointing hands around the tip. By walking up, I can fly? Yes. You'll need to enter a cocoon in the middle, though. All right, so that's the first one. Subtle. You might notice it. But if you don't, the second one will be a little bigger. And then the third one will be a little bigger than that. I can speed this up a bit. So now that was the third one. Here's the fourth one. So we're 1.6. Now we're 1.7. Honestly, that's already way bigger than it needs to be. If you're not seeing it there, you're probably never going to see this. Although this would have been 8 minutes to get to this point. Yeah, so I think that's the maximum size now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to keep that in the game. I like that. Add an achievement if it gets the max size. It's just wait for 8 minutes in the game. Yeah. Okay, so let's set these numbers correctly now. The start time, the max scale I think was pretty good there. But yeah, how do these feel? So we originally waited 55 seconds. I think that's pretty good. Lets a player see it on their own. Then we decrease it by only 2 seconds every time until we get to a minimum of, I don't want to have this be annoying. I don't know what 30 will feel like. Yeah, let's say start emphasis scale. This is 1.2, so this should be changed to that. So it takes 8 times for it to hit the maximum size. So maybe we should just have this be 16 seconds. So it'd be 39. I'll set it to 40. I think it's fine. Okay, great. And then I did not test this. If the mouse is over it, it should just wait before it starts it. So let's go try that. That should be pretty easy to test because we started the time at 55 seconds. So all I need to do is speed it up to 8x. So it'll take 7 seconds now, but then I'm just going to hold the mouse over it. So now nothing should happen. But as soon as I move the mouse away, within 5/8 of a second, it should increase the size. So I move the mouse away. Yep, immediately did it. Great. That's working exactly how I want. Pause the game. Yells, hey, listen. See, these are the sorts of little things that I like adding to the game. Like, this is actually going to probably help players. Like I said, I've seen players play. They have a tip on the screen like this. It's actually something that they should probably know, like, oh, you can fight 3 battles at a time. And they don't see it for 3 or 4 minutes. I think it's pretty fair after 3 or 4 minutes that this gets a little bit bigger than it normally was. So this will help players notice that. The other thing that this is doing is you can't see another tip while this one is showing. Because I don't want to just litter the screen with tips. So when you finally do dismiss this, now a new one could show up. So it's going to allow players to learn a little bit more. Yeah, so now here's a new tip. Now this is going to start at the original size that we had. If I speed this up. Granted, now even the animation is going to play 8x. It's going to take 1/8 of a second. That's not increasing in size. Or maybe it's happening, but it's so fast I can't see it. I wonder if there's a bug there. Yeah, because it doesn't seem like something's happening there. The start time is here. I'm going to change this to be this. And this is if it's persistent. Why isn't that changing size? Could add a subtle stacking or offset effect. Yeah, I don't think it's really worthwhile. A lot of the tips are staggered anyway, just based on when you unlock stuff. They're pretty front loaded. Why would this not work? But wow, now the breakpoints won't work. All right, fine. We got to restart this. Maybe call stop somewhere and don't start it again. I don't think we ever stopped that timer except for in one case. Oh wait, oh, what was that tip that was on the screen? Maybe that was the one tip that we do want to have it not ever run for. Yes, okay, yeah. All right, I'm gonna give you a point for that because we stop it in one case. And that's the very first tip in the game. We don't want to be snarky with that tip because that tip is guaranteed to get closed on its own if you're ever going to play the game. As soon as you run 2, I think, battles, it'll close that tip. So that's why that one didn't increase in size. So that was working as intended. And I just forgot that I did that. Yeah. All right. Well, let's just let this run. I'm going to go check this in and we'll just watch this when we come back to it. This is delete the animation player from here. That looks good. Notification box has display time. This should not have been changed. And there's some other stuff I did that I should not have changed. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so all of this is fine. The part that's not okay is this. And this. Probably every change in here. Yeah. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right. So our commit is just 2 files. Okay. Meanwhile, if you look over at Skeleseller. So this is a timer counting. Oh, nice. Wow. What timing? Look at that. And yes, it shows up beneath this one over here. That's okay. I don't care about that. It's just supposed to attract attention to it. Make tips more obvious as time goes on. So we always had a way of emphasizing tips, but we just increased the scale by 20% every 55 seconds. Now we increase the scale by 20% to begin with, but subsequent loops will happen faster, minus 2s each time, and increase the scale by 10% more each time until reasonable maxima are hit. Okay, commit. Yeah, so that was probably the third one of those that happened. I think. I'm just kind of estimating. But now the fourth one would happen. So if I were just playing the game and I'm looking over here and I'm like, I want to build a weapon shop. And I'm not actually going to click anything or do anything. And I'm like, no, what's in the town hall? Let me look at some perks. Let me go check out this bush over here. And now there's a tree. And it should only take another like 20 seconds. I guess seeming distracted for a whole minute is pretty hard. But yeah, I'm like intentionally looking pretty far away. A pretty decent peripheral vision. So I don't think it really matters how far. Yeah, okay, that's very obvious to me, regardless of where I'm looking. Okay, done with this. Consider showing little icons on the battle map for each adventurer to indicate where they're battling, maybe their portraits. This should probably be filed as an issue, and I'm not even certain I want to do this. Hey, Topher. Battle map. All right, this here, consider showing which battles are going on in the battle map. So a bunch of people have commented on this. They want to see where their adventurers are battling right in the battle map, rather than having to look at the title bars of each battle window. We could potentially put their portraits over the node at which they're fighting. Yeah, I'll just file this for now. I'm not going to do anything about it yet. When you complete a bone mode scenario, the NPCs should throw confetti. All right, this should be really simple. Confetti. Create at NPC. Here we go, create confetti. So when you beat a bone mode scenario, wait. What calls this? Ah, here, okay. Yeah, so we can just put this right there. Done. Like I said, pretty easy. Now let's go try it out. So in bone mode, you start with how many human NPCs? 4? 4. It's very likely that you'd have all of them by the end of it, but you start with 4. So you're guaranteed to see at least 4 sets of confetti. Now, it will happen in the background, and the end screen is pretty big. So here's what that would look like. We win, and now you see the confetti out of the side of this, and like over there. That's it. That's what we did. So there's just a little bit of fanfare when you win, and we get to reuse that thing that I coded. Now, if we continue playing, you will also see this whenever you beat an elite for the first time. So if I do this, oh no, they don't do that. Is that only in story mode? Yeah, it's only in story mode. Okay. Yeah, so then this is the way that you would see it in bone mode. I like it. I think it's pretty nice. Let's just see that one more time. So if you're zoomed way out, and we put these at kind of the edge of the screen, and then you win. Yeah, see a little confetti burst. It's a nice touch. It's very, very hard to see. Add confetti upon beating a bone mode scenario. I like it too. I really just like the create confetti thing. Let me show that off on its own. Town, create confetti, unhandled input, page up, delete, delete, create. Okay, so now you can see it when I just press page up. But yeah, I tried to match the colors to the defeated elite banner that shows up. Yeah, only the human NPCs throw it. And that's it. It lasts for what, 4 seconds maybe? Oh, playtest error. I think it's unrelated to getting an achievement. Particle systems are nice. So yeah, the other human NPCs that can throw it are the farmer and the fisherman. Yeehaw. And I think that's it. Yeah, slimes don't throw it. The treasure spirit doesn't throw it. Oh, no, they do. I thought it was just humans. Huh. Well, why shouldn't the slimes throw it too then? I'm going to say because this one ate it and because this one cooked it. That's the answer. All right, need to add cool stuff to Skeleseller so that influencers who already played have cool things to discover. Maybe there's a goblin walking around that drops some loot. Maybe the bird character flies around. It may be neat to have these characters show up in a battle and require you to click them, at which point they may enter town and buy a single item. Man, that notification's super annoying. Like, how do we fix this? Why is that icon showing if this is... What is going on? Oh, it's stuck on uploading. I'm just going to quit Steam. Oh, doesn't want me finishing. It doesn't want me quitting. I was trying to finish this. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, I quit. All right, I do think this is cool. We're going to bump this up the list for now, though. Add as many tags as I'm allowed on Steam. They're all opportunities to show up somewhere. Have I done this already? How many tags do I have? Why won't it show me? That's not what I meant to do. I meant to click the plus. All right, view and edit tags for this product. Tags you've applied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I doubt they'd put a max of 18, so I could probably have 2 more. Maybe strategy. Let me go check this out. This is something I can't show on stream, but I don't think it'll take too long. it's just loading on my other screen. Okay, so go to the full version and the demo version. And it's still loading. Oh man, I don't know what's happening right now. Is it me? Is it Steam? All right, where are the tags? Tags, got it. Tag my title. Should you have as many tags as you can? Your tags. Next. Give me a sec. I'm trying to figure out. Oh man. Okay, what else? Here we go. Tags in this list were found in your title store description or been manually added. Select the ones you feel are additive in describing your title to customers or simply skip. You may also search the hundreds of tags in our system to add any others. How many? Yeah, how many can you have? Not the indie? I think it has the indie tag. Yeah, it's there. They say to put the most descriptive ones at the top because that's what's going to suggest games that are like this. So if you click more like this, there's Eidolon, Gambler's Table, Shop Titans. These are all probably pretty good matches. These are probably 2. Yeah, these are 2. Yeah. Hey, Mom. Any good resources to learn data structures and algorithms? So, yeah, I have a few. Let me look at my notes for this stuff because I had this when I think I would have searched. Here it was. Okay, yeah, here's all my notes that I took on this when I was doing this, but I was doing this back in 2020. So maybe some of these are not relevant anymore. I'm not going to read through this myself right now. But yeah, there you go. That's everything that I felt was noteworthy. Quite literally. So how many tags are you allowed? How many tags can a game have on Steam? 20 visible tags. So now, is it best to have as many tags as possible on Steam? Not best. Says who? For the tags in store visibility section below. May change over time, blah, blah, blah. This tends to not fluctuate. Okay, great. All right, so see, what did it say? Tags in store visibility. Here. Tags associated with your game impact where and how it shows on Steam. Use this information to figure out which browsing pages your game should appear on. Order and weight. Tags given the most weight govern your visibility more than those given less. Your title's top 5 tags should paint a fairly clear picture of your game. Okay, does it? Management, shopkeeper, simulation, auto battle, or casual. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Some prioritize the top 15. Okay, so having more probably doesn't actually matter. Yeah. Although we could add a couple more. Like I could put strategy in here. I think I got rid of that. Yeah, I could put strategy. And then if we were to add one more after that, what would it be? None of these really fit. Automation kind of does, not really. I think it's probably fine. If you do search strategy games, does this show up? Because users can add tags too, right? Or can they? No, they can't. What am I talking about? What if I go to like Terraria? I can't add a tag for that, can I? I click the plus. Apply a tag. I wonder what that does. Don't eat a large lunch during a set of interviews. I just think it can make you sluggish. Okay, so I'm not super concerned about this then. But what happens if we search on Steam for strategy games? Because I didn't tag Skeleseller with that. but if I click popular upcoming and go to upcoming releases and click that and then go to tag strategy, Skeleseller does not show up. I mean, I don't see it. No, I don't see it. But if I added it, it would show up. Want tags that accurately associate your game with similar games? Yeah, I've heard about this too. I saw the Chris Kukowski talk on that stuff. And I think the ordering definitely matters. Also, for what it's worth, I originally had strategy much higher, and then I just removed it. I think there is strategy in this game. I think it'd be pretty low down on the list. But I wonder if it's worthwhile to add because, one, it's applicable, and two, it would help me show up in cases like this, maybe. Okay, so what if I just click strategy over here? What just happened? I think it was laggy. Clicking like 12 times did something bad. Yeah, here we go, strategy. Oh, Skeleseller does show up. Oh, I probably don't need to worry about this then. Yeah. Still got higher. I wasn't suggesting it for bathroom reasons. I was suggesting it because I think your brain will operate worse. But at least that's how I feel sometimes after certain lunches. Shows a preview of games. Yeah. I watched that talk and I also looked through all this myself. I'm pretty happy with how it ended up. I was just wondering, should I add a couple more tags? I don't think so. Also, when does it come out? February 24th? This is Irish John Games' game. Oh, early access. Okay. He's been working on it for a long time. He's been putting in a lot of work. He said he had like tens of thousands of wish lists. So yeah, I hope it does well. Man. His roadmap is so big. Wow. Yeah. All right, so I don't think I'm going to do this. Make a soft hyphen for all of our fonts. Yeah, I probably should. Oh, hey, an ad break is running. Drat. Do you have any stats of the amount of people using the upcoming menu? I don't think so. I could maybe find it. Where would that be? Let me check here. Because I have impressions. And this is of the demo. I want it of the release version, which thankfully I just made this. Or I can type release, and there's the number. I'll paste that into the URL. All right, so impressions, upcoming. So upcoming releases account for... Upcoming releases is about 10% of the impressions and about 2% of the visits. The biggest source of visits is from direct navigation, 26%. And then other pages, I don't know what that even means. This is traffic with incomplete metadata. Yeah, so they don't even know what that means. And then search suggestions are like 20%. Bot traffic, external website, wish list, browse search results. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to close all this stuff. Cool. Are we flying? We're doing pretty well. Do you get a conversion rate? There's no conversion for the full game because it's not for sale yet, but probably you will. Something I'm also curious about is how are wish lists changing now? Yeah, this really slowed down. I think those TikTok videos helped that I made. Because yeah, 19. This is doing a lot better before. We click 2 weeks. Yeah, there was a big spike and now it's on its way down. This is not what I want to see leading up to launch. Hey, Laxon. Impressions to visits. Oh, I guess you could just compute that from the numbers that they give. So yeah. So something I also liked looking into is this. if you go to Steam, I'm in an incognito page, so there's no biasing here. Although I don't know if this biases it anyway. So maybe I could have done this. Popular upcoming, scroll down to Skeleseller, and then search through all of these. Paste them here and delete that. Skeleseller is number 118 on the list. So that's what I think is going to drive traffic. I don't know how far people are willing to look in this list if they're interested in this list. But probably if they open it up, they're going to be like, oh, wow, look at these 3 games. And then maybe look at these 3 and then maybe lose interest. So yeah, once Skeleseller is like way higher up on the list, which it will as these games release, because then they can't be on upcoming. What if I cook the conversion rate? Yeah. Although it would require a big enough sample size. I'm not going to really look into this for right now. And like I said, strategy already causes it to show up. That's probably okay. Pretty far up on Steam Deck probably, or does that show all the Windows entries too? I don't know if it even shows up on Steam Deck because I didn't get any sort of like certification or whatever. So at best, it would have the yellow mark saying it runs, but it might not be great. And I think the only reason why I would say that is because I haven't like fully supported controllers. But I don't even plan to do that. All right, so make a soft hyphen for all of our fonts. Yeah, this is an issue right now. So if I search for soft hyphen, we can get a string that will prove that this is working. Wait, this was closed? Was this fixed? Oh, it was fixed. 2 hours ago. Okay, I was like, why didn't I see an email about this? Well, that's cool. How did they fix it? Cool. Hey, little Saf. How you doing? We're changing release time earlier in the day if it puts you ahead of other games releasing that day. I think it'd be better the other way around, because then you'd show up on popular upcoming sooner. Or sorry, for longer. But I have mine set to launch at 9 a.m. that day. And the reason why... Wait, is it 9 a.m.? I think it's 9 a.m. Hang on a second. I got to look into this because there's a reason why I chose this, and I might have done something kind of poorly. One sec. Skeleseller. Okay, I click this. It's launching, yeah, 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. my time. So right now it's 11:43. So it would have been 2 hours and 43 minutes ago. But the reason I chose that is because I wanted to apply for the Twitch front page, and I normally started at like 8:30. But actually, the Twitch front page is only from 8 to 4, and that's if I get it. I'll be told in the next 8 days, apparently. And hey, Mo, welcome in. Games releasing after you always show up below you in the list. Is the game releasing sooner that push you off the front page? Okay, are we talking about popular upcoming? Because popular upcoming is not totally sorted by release date. And you can see that if you... Where is it? Popular upcoming, yeah, here. So if we go to this and then you just scroll down the list, you'll occasionally see the date drop. Okay, maybe I'm a liar. Yeah, maybe I'm a liar. I thought that was the case. No, they're all sorted by date. Yeah, they're all sorted by date. Okay. So yeah. I thought the wish list count or something might play into that. Okay, anyway, the reason I opened this up is because if I copy paste this into the game, so we just go make a new label and paste that here and then shrink it. How do we shrink this? I guess let's just make it a rich text label because I know how to do that easily. Oh, did they made it so that when you switch to rich text label, it keeps the text? I don't think that was the case in the prior version I was using. Anyway, so now we shrink this and we should see something like this. There's a hyphen. Great. That works. Now we paste this. Can't be done in root. Okay, fine. So we make a control and we make that the root and then we paste this. Now we paste this, we move it over here. and then give this a different font. So font, set it to bold. Why is this working? I don't have these characters in my font, right? I thought there was a bug here. I mean, I'm happy to hear I don't have to do anything, but I don't know why. Oh, this one's not working. Where'd the... Oh... That's a ligature. God. This isn't good. This is very, very bad. Yeah, this is very bad. It's in the bold font. The ligature's probably been deleted. I'm guessing it's gone. It's gone. It's really bad. Oh, man. All right. Well, we're going to have to fix this. Fix ligatures in the bold font. What I'm working on today, I try to keep the today command up to date. So I've got that. All right, so here's why this is such a problem. This app that I'm using, Glypher Studio, I filed a bug a while ago where, how do we find this? Repositories, here, issues, and then just look for my picture. Oh, it's not by author though. Okay, let's just search by author. Yeah, here. Ligatures don't always export correctly. Wait, was this updated 2 days ago? Non-breaking hyphens. Kind of supposed to be hidden in a sense. What? Hold on a second. What? I use one myself. Can't remember if it's the same one you used in the video Unicode 2011 or not. Oh, this is just poor English. Okay, never mind. I thought okay. I thought they were talking about, I think I linked a video in here. Yeah. I thought they were talking about some video I made in 2011. Yeah, okay. All right. But use it to load demo fonts on my audiobook player. As in screenshot, even though it's a demo font, and legally you can't modify it at all. I don't know what this comment is talking about. Is this a human? I don't know. But yeah, so let me back up a step, and this is very annoying. So there's this issue where when you export a font from here, your ligature data is just deleted, and I couldn't tell what caused it exactly. And this person was very nice, the owner of the repository, and they said they look into it. And this is nothing about that. I'm not trying to blame them or something for it not being fixed, but I know that there's a bug here. And the reason this is so annoying is because I fixed another font issue by manually editing like 6 characters. So now what I'm going to have to do is revert my font to an old version, then go manually refix those 6 characters, and then export and hope we keep ligatures. I don't know what else we could do about that though. All right. Well, before we get to that, oh, that's not a soft hyphen then, is it? Probably not. No, it is. It just doesn't know about the ligature. Completely normal GitHub issues question. Well, yeah, it is normal, and I understand the social commentary behind that comment, but this makes no sense, right? Like non-breaking hyphens, I believe, are mainly for this. Like, how does this have to do with ligatures even? And then why include this and why like okay, hold on. I might understand what their point is. Usually only sees TT and it doesn't pull in the TT ligature glyph. Does this have to do with non-breaking hyphens? I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Just ask for clarification. Well, they're not the person who owns a repo. This person owns a repo, and I actually had an email thread with him, and he's, like I said, he's very nice. He'll probably end up fixing this. I think he knows everything he needs to know. So this is just some like drive-by comment, which this could say the most helpful or the least helpful stuff, and it probably wouldn't make too much of a difference. Unless they said, oh, I found the bug. Oh, yeah, I understand, Martin. Yeah. Maybe they're trying to say it's invalid or something. Maybe, but it wasn't. Like, it just didn't export with ligature data. All right, so the issue we have is in the handwritten font, but everything else is working just fine. So let's take a look at this. Do we have that character in here? Where does it even show up? Latin supplement? I don't remember. Here it is. So it's one of these. So this is an EM dash, then EN dash, then non-breaking hyphen. So non-breaking hyphen is set. So this is not an issue. If we load this up again, but with the regular font. So ligatures are working here, and you even saw them get loaded right there. So we have, what, a few ligatures, yeah. But we do not have, or no, wait, we do have this for this one, right? One of these is the non-breaking hyphen. Yeah, there it is. But if that exists, then why is this not working? I don't understand this. What am I missing? EN, EM, horizontal bar, double vertical line. Yeah, non-breaking hyphen should be used. This is in the font I just loaded. We have main, bold. Yeah. Strange. Why wouldn't this work? We should see hyphens show up here. Yeah, we should see hyphens. Now it includes the ligature problems. Yeah. It seems like only the handwritten font doesn't have this. And this looks like the handwritten one. I mean, I guess we could just confirm it right here, right? We just click this and then go to... What page am I on in that picture? Latin 1 supplement. Yes, yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's fine. We just need to... Oh, here it is. Soft hyphen. It's not non-breaking hyphen. Latin supplement. Okay, so then what am I on over here? This is wrong. Latin supplement. And it shows up between what and what? It's just before the reserve symbol. So this doesn't have one? Why is this rendering then? Oh man, I don't get it. I just don't get it. We were looking at the bold font. Are we not? Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly That's exactly what I have in that command right there. Okay, I don't understand this. Item was created but has not yet been edited. What does it say over here? Oh, it just doesn't say anything. Weird. So that means we edited it to be white space. But here we have, well, we don't have a character. I don't know. Thanks, Atomic. There should be a name for this. I think it's yak shaving. Any apparently useless activity which, by allowing one to overcome intermediate difficulties, allows one to solve a larger problem. It's not quite the same, I guess. All right, I don't fully understand this, but I think I'm right about what I was just saying, which is here it says it's created but hasn't been edited. So the font treats it like it doesn't exist and then falls back to a completely different dash. So this is actually not the dash that we have in the font. And if I draw a dash, we should see that. These two characters look different. Yeah, they are. Look, that one's rounded. So I think I'm right about that. Yeah, and that one's just a box. Hey, GLFA. How you doing? Okay. Oh, boy. So the handwritten font doesn't have this. That's not even true. The bold and handwritten fonts don't have this. And the regular one does. Did I even load that up? No, this one doesn't either. None of them do. That's the boxy one. Okay. Found your Twitch I was watching or the Steam client? I think you don't see the chat there. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't load up the Steam chat because there are so few people chatting there. Hey, I already love this game. What's your Twitch name? Yeah, sorry. Welcome in over here, though. I'm glad you like the game. I think you posted on the discussion forums. Am I right about that? Asking if the demo stuff would transfer. Friend request. Where's the community hub? Discussions. Not that one. This one. That's not you, is it? No, that's somebody else. Okay, never mind. But yeah, welcome in. Basically saying that the dash being used is being hidden as it's a special kind of dash. Yeah, and that's how soft hyphens work, but oh, maybe they're not even talking about my issue. Maybe they're just responding about the video or something. I don't know. I think they're a little bit maybe confused by what's going on and what's relevant. So none of the fonts have this. So none of the fonts have this. The handwritten one defines a blank one, which is an extra problem. Did a review, really nice. Sadly, I already completed the demo. Can't wait for release. Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, I remember seeing your name somewhere on Steam. Yeah, I guess the review. The full version comes out in what, 25 days? Yeah, 25 days. And it's not a lot of time. And now we got to figure this out. Man, is there some way I could copy glyphs between fonts maybe? Like, what if I did this? What if I took this character and I click and there's no way this will work, right? It had to work across tabs. Yeah, so if I click copy here, and it's possible for them to have done this, but I don't know why they do it. Yeah, there's no paste here now. I don't know how we do this then. If there was like a text editable font format, I could do it because we'd probably find like A and then a whole bunch of like vector data and then B and a whole bunch of vector data and so on and so forth. And then we'd see ligatures in here and I could just copy paste the ligatures block. But I don't think fonts are viewable as a text file, are they? No. They made it. Wait, what? Slay has an official release date now? Because that's why I'm going to lose all my time. They still say March. Where do you get the release date from? Maybe paste in the middle. No, I don't think there's a way to do this because this is some like special data for this app. It is all just vectors at the end, so maybe there's an export that I could do. There's copy, delete, turn path into component, flip, round, move. Oh, what's that? Export glyph. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I think we can do this then. Yeah. Okay. This is still going to be tedious. They had a YouTube premiere with a trailer and date on. Wow, I'm surprised they didn't update their Steam page. But yeah, cool. So, release date is March 5th. I'll write that down. My wife and I are both going to buy that game. March 5th is when Slay 2 comes out, according to a YouTube video they made. That's right, Free Technic. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is revert our font and make sure the size goes up when we do that, which we could also do by just fetching it from here. So we search for bold.otf. Here it is. And we can just look at the size. Is the size here? No, it's not. Okay, well, we can download it from here, right? Yeah. Size is 49 kilobytes. But what's it actually for real here? 49,352. And what's the one that I'm using? 49,332. So those extra 20 bytes are probably ligatures getting deleted. Oh man. All right, let's go try to fix this. That should be the only difference in the fonts though. So this is going to have broken capital W. And it's not obvious until you zoom to 45,000%. Can you spot that with your eye right there? You can't? Let me zoom in a whole lot. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. That little spike right there. So that's what we got to fix. That's why this is a problem. And that's why I'm annoyed by this, because I don't want to have to fix all this stuff again. But I think we can do this. So we got to load up the bold font. We got to be incredibly careful about this stuff. So here's a bold font, basic Latin. We got to find all 6 of the characters that were affected. I have a commit about this, so we can go find them through there. But why do you zoom in then? Okay, so I'll show you why I even knew this was happening. First of all, Ski Dog found it in the game itself. And I thought, oh, this is due to upgrading Godot. And in a way, it kind of is. What it renders in the game as is this. So those tiny little spikes you saw, like there on the W, gets incredibly exacerbated and shoots upward and forms these obnoxious gray bars on the font. So each one of those bars represents a spike that existed in the font that should have been smoothed out. I manually edited all of these and got rid of them. In doing so, I then hit this bug here. Ligatures don't export correctly, and the ligatures got deleted. That is why when you try typing the FT ligature, it gets removed. So it just types so instead of soft. Oh, and thanks for subbing. I appreciate it. So yeah, this is bonkers. This is just absolutely bonkers that like 2 different issues came together to form this one. But yeah, we have an easy enough fix for it, assuming we can export with ligatures, which we're going to test this time. And that hopefully, this is what I'm hoping out of all of this, is that exporting a second time will fix any issue that might have happened the first time. So I don't know, but we got to go through these characters. So let's start with the capital ones, W and, wait, no, wasn't there another one? Yeah, there was another one, which is why I opened this up. Yeah, hey, Neptor. Okay, so somewhere here, we're going to see a fixed font issue. Fix font. There it is. And with some characters, I'm so glad I put this in the commit. Every once in a while, by the way, this chat, every once in a while, someone asks me, hey, do those notes ever come in handy? Or like, why do you write commit messages like this? This is why. You never know when you're going to need this in the future. And I don't want to have to look through the entire font and like reproduce this again. So it's capitals V, W, and Y. So we need V. And this should not have the spike there. Yeah, smooth. All right, so we export this. Is that button? Export, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so there's capital V, and then we need W, and we need Y. Okay, and then lowercase letters are DVW. So D, V, and W. Okay, so now we have our 6 glyphs. Now we load them into this font. So let's do the capital ones first. So import. Where'd that go? Here. Okay, what am I on? Capital W, I'm guessing. Open. No, that's lowercase. There. Ooh, now it's offset by a little bit. I want it to be exactly where the old one was. All right, that's good, right? But now that means that the old one is still there behind it. Oh no. Okay, maybe we Command Z until no more undo. Okay, good. So how do we fix this? We need these exact numbers again. Why is the spike there? I don't have an answer to that question. Oh, hey, Quickie Joe. You should be able to copy one ligature and paste it into another one in a different tab. Oh, you can? So then I could just take these. Wait, this is the one that doesn't have the ligatures. Oh, I was doing this backwards anyway then. Wasn't I? No, wait, was I? No, I was doing it the right way. But now we're going to do the other way. We copy the ligatures. We only have 3. Yeah, I guess that could work too. So how are you saying you do this? You copy the ligature and then go over to here and create a new one. Create many ligatures at once on comma separated list. Ligatures cannot contain commas or spaces if you use this. All right, so on FF, FT, and TT. FF, FT, TT. Select all. Is there... Oh, wait. Are you saying you can select them like this somehow? I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry, like drag and select everything. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then what? Just click this copy, right? On the ligature or on the path? Does it belong in coding or an off topic? Either one's fine. Coding is like coding adjacent stuff mostly. Oh, you do Control C, so I can just copy with my thing here and then paste, allow, error. Text on the operating system clipboard does not appear to be an SVG, or there's an error parsing it. I mean, I know I'm doing this from the wrong ligature, but I just want to see if I can copy this at all. Well, okay. What we can do, I guess, is just the export way. And maybe that'll just work. It's too bad you can't export the whole path, I guess. Try Control V. Oh, try it here. Yeah, here it works. Here it doesn't. But maybe it's because I need... I don't know what I need. Yeah. What if I do that? No. Well, anyway, I can still just export this, right? And this, and this, and then just import them over here. So FF is here. Does it look exactly the same? No, there's more space, I think. But I could probably just click them and set them to be the same, right? Yeah, they're definitely in different spots. And even the winding is different. All right, well, let's write this down. The tab on the right has the ligatures. but the spiky characters. So we want to copy the data from the right to the left. So let's just do that. And let's put this in different spots for that reason. There. Okay. So we choose counterclockwise, 28, 645, 740, 644, baseline left, lock. Okay, great. All that's the same. Now this is 743. Everything else is good. Yeah, cool. So that one's done now. Now for FT. Okay. So I gotta go find that and click over here. Okay, so same thing, counterclockwise. 26 is the only number that needs to change there. And then 734 is the only number that needs to change there. Then the final one of these. Load in TT. And that is clockwise 1 and 690. Okay. All right. So now we just try exporting the font. And it should say the ligatures are getting exported, but we won't know until we load it back into a new version of this and spot all the same characters. And I forgot to add in the hyphen. Whoops, I've never even done that over here. How do I undo that? What? How do I get that bar back? Show sidebar. Didn't do anything. Huh. That's strange. Yeah, that's strange. I just like collapsed it and I don't know how to get it back. I've never actually done that on Mac before. Close and open again. There we go. Okay, cool. Thanks, Chase. Whew. All right, so we got to go back to downloads and put this over here. And we should see ligatures flash there really briefly. It didn't. So this didn't save the ligatures, did it? Oh, I might not have seen it then. Okay. Why do I program on a Mac? It's not super compelling reasons. I really liked the hardware. I wanted something that was quiet. My old Windows machine was fine for developing, but the fans were loud. And Mac had good ARM hardware. Whereas I feel like Windows, maybe it's different nowadays, but at least back in whenever I bought this, 2023, there wasn't like a really compelling choice on the market. So we've downloaded the font, but I haven't done the soft hyphen thing yet. Let's check this in as got the ligatures working. So paste this in here, delete the bold one, rename this to be what it used to be, and then click Godot. Okay, so there, the ligature is back. And to prove that, I can type all the ligatures here. So FF, FT, TT. And you can see how they're different from the non-ligature versions because they're combined. So we got to check in just that. Resurrect ligatures due to this issue. I lost my ligatures when I fixed the spiky characters in the bold font. All right, now we got to go add in soft hyphens to all 3 fonts. Then I'm getting very hungry. I should probably take a break after that. But I want to get this done. So let's do that. So we're going to just close out everything so I don't need to worry about what's new and what's old. I'm going to pull everything from this folder. So Glypher Studio, we load that up 3 times. Then we load up the bold font. Take care, Vibehub. Hope the interview goes well. I'm assuming you're conducting it. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I would have been able to support Mac if I didn't have a Mac or have someone who had access to it at least. Because usually building on a Mac or building for a Mac is only possible if you're building on a Mac in a lot of cases. Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do, we're going to the Latin 1 supplement and find the hyphen, which I think is this. It's technically not that. Is it in basic ones? This one? Hyphen minus. Yeah, there we go. So I want that, and there's some way to do this. Load the font, go to characters. You should see a bunch of grayed out characters. Click it to create it. Now draw the character. Went to the hyphen, select everything, copy pasted. Yeah, probably forgot to set advanced width. Okay, yeah, I understand how to do this now. So I click this and I copy the whole thing. And then I go to supplement and find the soft hyphen. Yeah. Then I paste this in. And then I set the advanced width by just clicking it again, right? No, that didn't work. Doesn't have a width. Then it's probably because you forgot to set an advanced width in Glypher, which defaults to 0, but should get set automatically when you click off the newly pasted path. It didn't, though. But I can click that, right? Oh, nice. Okay. I think we're good. So this gives us a soft hyphen in the bold font. We export it. We really, really hope ligatures stay in it. But the only way to know for sure is to just reload the font. So we go do that over here. So let's do that and load it up. So this should have a soft hyphen, no spikes, all ligatures, Fox only, final destination. There they are. And somewhere in here we'll see the soft hyphen. Yeah, perfect. Okay, this is working. This process is going to kill me. Okay, so now we load this up and everything should be fine with this thing. Yep, there we go. Look at those soft hyphens. Perfect. And if we had it large enough, there'd be no hyphens. So by the way, that's what a soft hyphen is. If you had a string like, I don't know, let's just say hyphenated word. Whether or not you have the space to show this string, that hyphen is always there. So that's just a regular hyphen. A soft hyphen is that this hyphen will only show if it needs to go onto another line. So if it could fit on one line, it won't have the hyphen. This is great for a bunch of different languages, apparently. English, as far as I know, doesn't need them. But in German, for example, we have... What's the name of the character? I'm not going to try to pronounce it. With the spirit caller. Yeah, this. So this string is actually has a soft hyphen right between the R and the B. Oh, this is broken. It has like 7 soft hyphens between the R and the B, but you can't see them. But if I just hold shift right, you see how it lags between the R and the B? That's because it's selecting all those characters. Okie doke. So that one's done. Now we got to do this 2 more times. So we load up the normal font. How many ligatures does this one have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Okay, now we go to basic Latin, find the hyphen, click the hyphen, send it over to supplement for this one, soft hyphen, perfect, paste, and then click away, click back, click this. All right, now export. Export complete. Now we go load it over here and make sure it actually got the hyphen. Or sorry, got the ligatures. Ghost Conjurer, yeah. Ligatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And should have, I mean, I might as well check this if I'm checking everything else. Yeah, nice. Okay. So now we paste that font over to here. And now we get soft hyphen showing for this, which it looked like they were already there. It's this font, not the other one. No, this one didn't even look like they were there. Never mind. But now it's working. So now if I change this, Oh, yeah. All right. Now, one more font to do that with. Then we are donezo. And what is the last font? We just did regular and bold, so now we need the handwritten one. Where's the handwritten one? Wait, main. 1, 2, 3. It must be this one. Maybe. I don't know. Just me read through and pronounce all the translations. What if that's what it takes to learn a language? What if I become an expert at German? You guys are laughing at me for the first like 3 or 4 strings, and you're like, actually, it's pretty good now. And you're like, wow, I can't even pronounce that word. Then who'd be laughing? This is not the handwritten font. I messed something up. It's this one. Oh, right. Yeah, right. Ignore everything I said. Okay, how many ligatures are here? Just 3. Characters. Where art thou hyphen? Here you are. Copy you. Paste you over to here. Yep. Click and export. Okay. Now we load it up over here. Make sure we still have 3 ligatures. Yeah, I figured from your name you're German. Also, I trust that this is like if a German person saw this, they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It doesn't stand out to me or anything. It's a good name for the character. But yeah, the soft hyphen we only have in the middle because that's where we split in the UI. All right, so 3 ligatures. Good. And soft hyphen. Perfect. So now we paste this over there. Whoop, that didn't work. Oh, because it's got regular in the name. There. And now all of these should be fixed. And that boxy hyphen goes to a rounded hyphen. This one should be rounded. And that one is not quite the same shape, but that's okay. And now when we change this around, looking good. Oh, okay. Add soft hyphens to each font. So what was the problem with this before? The handwritten one had a blank character or had blank space for the soft hyphen. So it would render as nothing. The other 2 fonts had, what did it say in it? It was like a character defined but no glyph. Had no glyph, so they fell back to the system font, which for me is very blocky. I don't think people could probably notice that too closely on a hyphen because you don't have other, well, I guess you have a regular hyphen. Never mind. I take back what I said. I have so many tabs. This is going to be a short. This should probably be a video. I think this would be kind of interesting. Actually, Quickie Joe, if you're still there, do you know how those spikes got there in the first place? Is it some like export process? Because that would make this even more interesting. Because like something probably happened when you draw a font. I'm guessing you draw it like you're drawing like I'm doing right now pretty much. But then these get converted into vectors, whatever you drew. And for there to be a spike there would lead me to believe that something in the export process probably like rounded or had the wrong granularity for something or created points on a path that shouldn't have been there or something like that. Alternatively, I could kind of see if you draw like, if I just try drawing a straight line, like that's not perfectly straight. And if you zoom in on parts of it, you'd probably see that it's not perfectly straight. So then, I don't know. Might also be the interpolation that decided to make a spike instead of a rounded tip. Yeah, but why? Yeah. But why such a tiny spike? It feels like they'd avoid that. Amount of sidetracks you're opening is just amazingly funny. Well, this in particular, I think it's nice sharing this knowledge. This is definitely a sidetrack from the game, but the font stuff is not a sidetrack. This is just like it was broken in the game. We either would have had to deal with these spikes or we'd have to deal with a lack of a hyphen in some languages. But yeah, I think that'd be a cool video to do. So I should probably do something on this. Show off the bug with the spikes in Godot. Maybe just make it a short. Something like I upgraded Godot and saw this happening in the game. What do you think caused it? And then show off what happened. All right, where do we stand right now? I just got done with a soft hyphen thing, right? And I fixed the ligatures again. Clean up the Steam page in terms of system requirements. I mean, I could. I probably should. Yeah, we're getting through the list. Okay, so I need food. So I'm going to write in the journal really fast. I really want to release a new version of the demo today. It will not contain more content or anything, but it will have the controller fixes and like the soft hyphens in the fonts and whatever other things I've done in the last week. So a decent amount of bug fixes. Worked on my backlog. Yeah, so here's the drill. Most of you know this already. It's about 12:30. I'm going to take about an hour. So at about 1:30, I should be back. And I should be able to stream for another, like, maybe 3 hours, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. But yeah, I got to get food. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Hope you've enjoyed. If you want to join Discord, there's a link. And I will hopefully catch you after lunch. Bye, everyone.